Welcome back to the Dropouts Podcast. You are here with your host, Samaj Sinclair, and to the right of me, I got my co-host for the day, the one, the only, Brianna LeBron.
Thank you.
And today we got a very special guest. We got Elisa, also known as LEELEE Da Yogi. Yo, let's give you a little intro music. Nice.
Like that.
Yeah, right? It's a vibe. So, how's it being a yogi?
It's great. Being a yogi has changed me a lot though, in ways that it's like, dang, I can't do the things I used to do without feeling bad about it. Like, I used to be able to just, I don't know, talk to people and not care about like how I made them feel or what I said. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I internalize everything. Cause like outside of the physical practice of yoga, there's 8 limbs of yoga. So like the other limbs, I also try to practice. And I'm like, oh wow, like I have to be intentional about everything I do in my life. Like I can't just live to live anymore, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. You
Yeah.
said there's 8 limbs to yoga. All right, you got to break that down. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I can't remember them off the top of my head. I'm gonna be real.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's okay. It's like once you embody something, you kind of just don't think about it all the time.
Feel that.
Yeah. So let's see.
I love that.
It's like, I guess, like, you know, you could be like a Christian or whatever and be like, they're like, what are the, I guess, 10 commandments or whatever. You're like, I don't know.
I have no idea.
But the gist of it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Don't steal.
Yeah, right. Don't be.
Honor Honor your mother and father.
That was the one my mama preached to me. She was like, honor thy mother and thy father. I'm like, okay. All right. So you have, is this it? The yamas and the niyamas. Asana, which is like the physical practice. I guess I should tell y'all what the yamas and the niyamas are. The yamas are like the ethical rules, and the niyamas are like the habits and the virtuous observances that you have. And then there is, I'm going to butcher this word, Pratyahara. Sorry in advance. That is, that's awareness. That's drawing within one's awareness. Then you have Dharana, which is focus and being like one point in mind. You have Dhyana, which is contemplation and reflection. So like abstract meditations and stuff. And then you have Samayati, which is joining together. Was that 8?
Possibly.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was all 8. So
Nice.
I don't know. Like, I'm not a hardcore yogi to where it's like I wake up and I chant and I meditate and I do all those things. But like, I will say yoga saved my life. So my yogic practice probably doesn't look like most people, but that's because, I mean, we're all different. We all have our own lifestyles, but I think it's also about figuring out what your yogic practice looks like for yourself. And so mine is just like being intentional about what I put in my body, and then like recognizing there are going to be consequences for the things that I do wrong, and being okay with those consequences, because in the end, like I chose that for myself, like when I got into what I didn't need to get into. Or on the opposite spectrum, like doing things that might be hard for me in the beginning, but knowing that there'll be a positive outcome from the practice of doing it. So yeah, I think that's how I embody the 8 limbs.
What things, I guess, are hard for you that you like still have to, I guess, do to, I don't know.
Keep yourself, like, I guess, like, on the path, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
I guess like being around certain friends, and it's like they want to drink and smoke all the time, and it has nothing to do with me stopping smoking, but like just in general, like I can't party like I used to. Like I used to love going out, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't hit the same. What else is difficult? Eating, like my diet has had to change a lot, and I want to eat a lot of things, and I just can't. Like I physically will get sick, or like I'll break out. Certain music, like I can't listen to all of the same music, and I think that one hurts the most, because like I love music, but certain things just don't sit right with my spirit, and I'm like, yeah, I can't.
Like certain like subject matters.
Subject matters, really beats and stuff too. Like it's
Ooh,
yeah,
the beats.
I did a research project in undergrad called "Oh My God: Culture-Centered Music Therapy, Mindfulness, and Mindfulness, excuse me, in HBCU students." Because I learned like the different frequencies can affect your brain, and so I realized a lot of the music that we were listening to was like high frequency, and it's like it's melting your brain cells damn near, and so
So wait, high frequency can be bad.
again, depending on the intention behind it. And I don't think like most producers when they're in the booth, they're not like, oh, I want people to feel super duper meditative and like love this music and think of flowers and roses, and then have somebody rapping about drugs and like killing people. So it's like the frequency of the music on top of the lyrics, it's like subconscious brainwashing in a negative way. Yeah. Did y'all watch They Clone Tyrone?
No, I watched like the beginning of it, but I fell asleep. I was so
Really?
tired. I didn't get to finish it, but it was good from what I seen.
Yeah, like I'm not even really a movie or TV girl, but I watched that movie and there was a scene where they were in the club and they kept playing the same song, and like the people didn't even realize that the song was playing because they were just so into the music and like what it was doing to them. And so I realized like, oh, this shit is real. Like, yeah. So the frequencies.
Is there any particular song that you're like, this is a song that people might think is a good song, but maybe the frequencies of it are not that?
I feel like a lot of modern rap. Like, what do you mean by good? Like, good is in the lyrics and like what the artist is saying, or like they like the song, like they think it's a good song.
They think it's a good song, I guess.
Like the lyrics don't seem to be that negative, but like how you're saying, like the beats themselves. Like, do you ever hear a beat like before the lyrics even come on, and you're like, ah?
Yes, all the time. Honestly, the first person who popped in my head, don't shoot me, y'all, is NBA YoungBoy. Like, I really can't get with NBA YoungBoy.
He's on Demon Time
Yeah,
all the
he
time.
is. But like, you know how fast his music goes sometimes. Like, yeah, like
Makes me want to do that.
yeah, it's like music. I mean, music is spiritual, so it's like when you look at the spiritual component of it all, it's almost like not that you're being possessed in like a crazy way, but like how you want to dance, that's like a spiritual possession.
No,
in a
yeah,
sense. Yeah,
definitely, definitely.
yeah, so it's like music like that. I'm trying to think of other artists like
Brings
on the
out that
opposite spectrum.
aggression.
Yeah, damn, it's a lot of people I just don't listen to. Rod Wave, on the other hand of things, like he's just so sad, like.
He is. He's always
just
so sad.
And it's like, I understand that people relate to him because they're sad, but like if you continually subconsciously listen to music like that, like I don't see you elevating out of these depressive moods.
Right.
You like live in that sadness.
Yeah. I don't think I really answered the question.
No, you definitely did.
Okay.
Because like, you know, like you said, like a young boy beat, like I'm listening to one before it even plays, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm already turned up.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that. Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people around us are always telling us how there's a spiritual warfare going on. Like it's crazy out here. And then like I would hear that a lot growing up, and I didn't really think much of it. But then as I like got older and started kind of like locking in more spiritually, you start realizing like, damn, like the stuff that's out here that's like not good for you is like what's common, what's popular.
Yeah.
Like that's just majority of it. And then like you said, like when you're trying to get on your like, you know, you're trying to better your life, then you realize like, damn, now I don't got no one to like kick it with. Like it's hard to hang out with people. That's something like we were going through because like we still go out and like have drinks and stuff.
I do
but
too.
then,
I'm not holier than thou, but
Yeah.
I can't do it as much as I used to.
Yeah,
so
no, for sure.
That's the thing. We would be like, dang, we haven't seen this person in so long. But it's like the only way we could see this person is if we go out and drink.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing else we could really go do.
Right.
And since we haven't been wanting to drink, it's like we just haven't been seeing these people.
It's not even that I don't want to drink either, because like I don't mind having a drink like every once in a while, but like I would prefer to buy a bottle of wine or a bottle of alcohol and hang out with my friends in a house and just chill and not have to worry about driving anywhere, and not have to worry about expensive drinks, or not have to worry about anybody being weird at the club or weird just in general at the bar. Like depending on where you are, like, you know, you're safe, you're with people that you love or just good vibe people. You don't have to worry about being around like weirdos or nothing.
Because it's like, it's more than just you in the club. So it's like, not
Right.
only am I having to worry about me and my friend groups, I don't know what the rest of these people are on. So like, I will never forget this. It was like CIAA. I think it was right before COVID happened. I might be tripping, but I think it was. I was definitely under the influence. Like I was lit, but I had this intuition, gut feeling like you need to leave right now. And I'm like, Tried to keep partying. It was like, you need to leave right now. So I told my friends, I'm like, y'all, we gotta go. And they were like, why? I'm like, I don't know, but we need to go. I kid y'all not. We got into the Uber. 4 minutes later, I get a phone call from somebody else who was there. Are you okay? They started shooting in the party. Yeah, so it's like little things like that make it hard for me to want to go out because it's like you never know what type time other people are on.
Right.
And it's just like, I'm coming out to enjoy myself. I don't think people know how to enjoy themselves anymore. Like,
some people literally will shoot up a party because people are having too much fun.
that happened I've been unfortunately I've been in a lot of situations where I almost died. But in undergrad, it was a house party and everybody else was free. I don't know why they picked out this one guy and decided to charge him $10. He was like, "Oh, word, I'm $10. Bet I'm coming back." We're still having a great time. All we hear is screaming. This man walks in with a freaking Draco. And he's just like pointing it around the room. When I say we were running out that bitch,
Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Good.
We were running because it's like, oh my God. But it's all because they wanted to single him out. And I guess, he was like, well, everybody else is in there having fun for free. Fun's over. So it's just like, I don't know. People don't. I will say like older generations, I feel like they could have a good time without tainting other people's good times. Like, it wasn't a competition when they went out to the club. It wasn't like, I need to have on the flyest fit and be designer down so everybody knows I have money. I'm going to buy 17 bottles so the club knows, like, we're going up. It was like, no, we're going to come here. We're going to dance. We're going to have fun. We're going to enjoy ourselves. I don't feel like people go out to enjoy themselves anymore. It's just like, it's a competition.
No, I feel like just because I think back in the day, people were definitely still going out there trying to like flex and stuff. But I feel like just the energy around it was a lot different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Now I feel old because I feel like, you go out, you see people, you like, oh, I'm trying to get like you, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all cool and shit like that. But like, I feel like it's NBA YoungBoy, man. Like, he's destroying the youth. They're getting crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like even some older people, let me not say old people, but I feel like some older people are still in that competition mindset, like, especially like when you grew up, because I feel like maybe like now, I feel like more people maybe are starting to understand like it's not a competition. It's like not a race. Like, you just go at your own pace. Everybody has like their own lives to live. But also like, I do think that, kids probably are just on social media all the time comparing themselves. So like, they think it's a competition, or like the older generation probably thinks like they always compare themselves to others, always a competition. And it's just like, I don't know, even like growing up, like I feel like my mom would like compare me a lot to like other kids, but then when I would compare myself, she'd be like, stop comparing yourself. And I'm like, but you
don't be a hypocrite.
Yeah, you be comparing me like people.
I feel like you got to be a little hypocritical to be a parent. Like, it's just a part of the fucking
I don't know.
It's a joke. I'm just saying, all parents.
I don't know.
No, I feel like all parents be like hypocritical.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Like, they be doing shit and like not realizing that they're doing it, and then you mirror their behavior, and they be trying to tell you like, nah, don't do that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I got this from you.
Right.
Like, you raised me. I only know what you teach me.
Like, I'm literally your reflection.
Right.
But to go off of what you said with social media, I think social media is the problem though, because like, let's take it back to the 90s or like the 80s. They didn't have phones to where they were recording themselves in the like they were actually in there just to vibe. But definitely, now that I think about it, there was still competition because it was like, as much as we don't want to say we're in competition with others, I think there's always just going to be a little bit of like, well, I want to be the flyest one in the room or whatever. So it's like, yeah, that was probably a thing.
But the competition would be less, like you said. I want to be the flyest one in the room versus I want to be the flyest one on the gram. It's just like, now there's just so many other like people in that hypothetical room now.
Right.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. You're always comparing yourself to everybody else. That's, I don't know. I don't know, but I feel like social media is like obviously fake. Like, you see somebody like taking all these pictures or like doing stuff, but like they're probably not doing shit.
Okay.
Like, they're probably just putting on a show for social media. Like,
Literally.
you know how like easily we'll go to like be like, okay, let's bring a whole bunch of outfits and go take a bunch of pictures, and we'll literally be there for 5 fucking minutes. But like, you know, if we're in the city taking pictures, like somebody thinks like, oh, they're going to do something, they're going here. And it's just like, no, we just brought outfits with us and like went to the city to take some pictures.
Like,
like
I came in sweatpants.
Right.
Left in those
Right.
same sweatpants.
Exactly.
Dang, I was gonna say something and I forgot.
It's okay.
It'll come back.
Yeah.
It'll come back.
To come back.
Yeah. When you remember.
One of my boys who was on the podcast recently, in high school, he would always be going to like Atlanta, and like he would be like taking pictures on like in nice buildings in front of nice cars, and we thought he was just out here like living life. And then he was like, nah, we were sleeping under bridges and shit. Like the bus was only like $50 or less to get there.
Damn.
And like they were just on their Tumblr shit. Like they were getting like internet famous and all that shit.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. It was I used to go to Elevation like clockwork, and Pastor Stephen Furtick was like on Instagram, you just see people's highlight reel. Like you see what they want you to see. You don't see everything that happened before or anything that happened after that picture. You just see like, oh, I'm enjoying this one moment. Let me snap this picture, post it, and make it seem like I'm having the time of my life. And so, like, I remember that sermon stuck with me because it was like, oh, that's true. Like, I have no idea what other people are going through for real. I just see what they want you to see.
Right. You never know. Like, we were actually just, like, kind of talking about, like, you never know, I guess, what people got going on in their personal life. Like, if they have a drug problem and just hide it really well, or, like, you know, if they're going through stuff in their family, like, you just won't know because at the end of the day, you're just going to put a smile on your face and get to work and, like, try and do what you got to do.
Oh, yeah. And I think a lot of people, at least in our age group, they have drug problems and, like, alcohol problems, and they just don't realize it because it's like, oh, I'm not doing hard drugs. So it's like, no, it's like, if you feel like you need to go to the club and drink every weekend, you might have a problem.
Every weekend, that's good. There's some people who are, like, literally, like, every day.
Yeah. That's
like,
true too.
And I guess being hypocritical because I do smoke daily, but I couldn't imagine drinking as much as I smoke.
Me either.
And I know that people drink more than I smoke, and I'm like, dang, that's like oh man.
As a recovering smoker, I can agree. Like when I smoked, I was smoking a lot. And it's just like, but then there's people that do both. So it's like, I don't even know how they function.
Yeah.
It's just like, where is the balance in terms of like, okay, you can do all of that, but do you drink your water? Do you eat vegetables? Do you eat fruit? Like, what's your insides look like? And I think that's my biggest thing. It's like, how healthy are you really?
Probably not.
One thing we pretty much for the most part only smoke like joints or like pieces. We try to stay away from the tobacco.
Yeah.
And the nicotine and stuff
like
every
that. Once in a while.
I feel like it gives you a different high. Sometimes you want the tobacco. I stopped smoking tobacco products, I think in like 2021, and I was on like the paper wave heavy. I started adding herbs to my blunt or joints.
What kind of herbs?
Lavender, calendula, rose. Sometimes I would do mullein because mullein is good for the lungs. I don't know if it helps if I'm smoking. Using mullein. Yeah, that was pretty much it. But I feel like it elevated the high in a sense of like, one, I wasn't as anxious. Two, I was putting more herb, like the herbs I just named, than marijuana in it. So it was like
spliffing it with.
Yeah, because I realized like I don't even really care to be high. I just like the act of smoking.
It's a vibe. You get to breathe.
Yeah.
You're not doing much else in that moment. Like, yeah.
It's therapeutic. It's almost like a meditation. So it's like, I don't know, the act of smoking was what I was really chasing instead of the high. And so that when I realized that, I started only smoking herbs at one point too. And I was like, oh, I like this. But then, you know, the ganja pulled me back. But yeah.
Heck yeah.
So you stopped smoking.
I did.
So kind of walk us through what made you stop. Like, well, other than, I mean, you gotta explain whatever you want to explain, but I just mean like personally, like what made you stop?
I realized like I didn't even really feel high after I was smoking, if that makes sense. Like I knew I was high, but it was like I felt normal. Like I could still do all of my normal activities. It didn't feel like I was relaxing or like chilling anymore. And honest to God, like I really just kept getting gut feelings. It was like, you need to stop smoking. Like, I don't know why you keep doing this to yourself. Stop smoking. Like, you're not enjoying it. You live in New York and it's expensive as hell. And you're spending your money on weed. Like, just stop. And so eventually, the situation I got into really just like pushed me over the edge. And I was like, okay, I need to get real with myself because like we are our own worst enemy. And it was really just me in the way of it. And I've took tolerance breaks before and it wasn't as hard. I guess another thing that made it difficult was living in New York and not really having friends and like not having other outlets. Like smoking was an outlet. I can go to my car and just smoke and call it a day. And it's legal. So it's like I don't have the paranoia of like, oh, I'm going to get pulled over and the cops are going to like, it was none of that. So it was kind of like, you bored, go smoke. And so with that, I just realized like you're making a habit out of something that is supposed to be helping you, and it's not really even helping you at this point. It's really hindering you, especially like in terms of my fitness levels. Cause I love to work out. My stamina was ass. My laziness, like it was already worse. Like I'm not lazy, but I'm lazy. Like
Right.
yeah. So
You're good at relaxing.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm a pro relaxer.
Yeah.
So from that, it just made it harder. What else? I have not an on-time bone in my body, but I would be like even more late from smoking because I'm like, oh, I have time to smoke. Girl, you're smoking at the time you're supposed to be at the place.
Yeah.
Like, so it just became a really bad habit. And I'm like, okay, I got to let it go.
I feel like all the people who smoke are listening like,
sorry, y'all. Listen, I probably will pick up the weed again. Like, if I'm being realistic with myself, I enjoyed the act of smoking. Like, as much as it had its problems, it had its benefits for me as well. But at this stage of my life, and I guess like with being in grad school, I just had to get a little bit more real with myself and my goals and be like, okay, if you really want to be who you want to be, this is holding you back. And so it's like, just let it go for a little while. But to all my stoners out there, smoke your weed.
Right. Honestly, I feel like I don't really judge people for smoking or not smoking. I feel like everybody has their own life, their own goals. Like I was just telling somebody this earlier because I don't know, I feel like sometimes you smoke with people and like they just don't know how to handle it. Yeah, and it's like they smoke every like once a year, once a couple of months or something, and it's just like then you're around them and they're just like, I gotta go to the hospital. I'm just like, bitch, chill the fuck out. Like, no, you don't. Like, I'm not smoking with you anymore. So like honestly, I would prefer like if you can't handle it, like I'm like not gonna force you to smoke. Like if you that's not your thing, like that's not your thing. Like, you know, everybody to each their own. And like if you smoke, that's cool, you know. If you don't, that's cool, you know. Like, if you choose to take a break, you know, I respect that. That's cool. Like, you know, you want to be sober, like, okay, awesome. Like, you know, whatever is like right for your path and your goals, like that's what you should do. And if you were getting that feeling like I just need to stop, then, you know, that's what you need to do for you.
Yeah,
like
you gotta listen to yourself.
For sure.
Yeah, I think whenever we have babies, I won't be smoking.
Yeah, probably not.
Because I'll just like anything, like not that I think I would like fuck up because I was high, but anytime I do like the smallest like fuck up, like I forget something small or whatever, I'd be thinking like I am high, so I can't like.
Yeah.
I'm like I didn't do everything because it's like I'll forget my keys a lot or something like that. You know, where'd I put my phone or whatever, and it'll be like, am I doing everything I can to remember where I put this? And it's like yes, but I'm also smoking, so it's just like the little shit is real easy to forget. And I would just feel bad if I like did something to inconvenience my kid even in the slightest because I was like, damn, I'm fucking high.
Yeah.
You know, like you know, like, oh man, you don't like this pacifier. I should have remembered, but I'm fucking high right now. So
but we can always like I know people whose parents like while they were growing up would just wait until their kids were asleep and then just like smoke a bowl.
I know
like,
parents like that.
So I mean, you know, I'm not opposed to that. Maybe like when I'm not breastfeeding or something. Like I don't know. I don't know if there's enough research or not. Like I'm sure like some people smoke and have kids and it's fine. But
I follow a girl on Instagram. Her name is like Kiana something. I don't know. But she is a trainer and she smoked throughout her pregnancy and like she made plenty of posts about like the benefits of cannabis and being pregnant and like she breastfed her kids, the whole nine. And from granted Instagram, like the conversation we just had, I don't know her life, but like from what I can see, her kids are doing well, like they're smart, like she homeschools her kids too, which I think the school system definitely plays a major role in child development. But yeah, she talks about the benefits of being on cannabis and being pregnant. So I guess it's kind of just like, how are you using it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it definitely like depends, and also I think everybody's body is different too. So like, I'm not sure, like, you know, and I'm sure there's like a whole bunch of factors. Like, I don't know if your kid's got like a whole bunch of allergies or something, and like, does that play into that? Like, I don't know, but like, I just feel like I'd rather be safe than sorry. I probably just stop everything for like a minute to just try and focus on like having a kid, because I've never had a kid before.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I would want to make sure that I'm learning everything that I need to for like my first kid or something. Like maybe once I get the hang of it, we'll see how that goes like later on down the line. But
then there's always going to be something new, right? Because you're like, okay, when they're babies, no. Because that's what I was just thinking in my head. And I was like, by the time they're a little older, then like whatever. But then I was like, damn, what if I get a call in the middle of the night because motherfucker snuck out and they're like, hey, I'm in trouble. Like, and I'm fucked up right now. I need you to come get me. I can't be like, I'm fucked up right now. Like,
yeah, but like also I guess it depends, because I guess right now I'm like a functioning like, you know, smoker.
Yeah.
So like,
but if you stop for 9 months,
yeah, if you stop and then go back to it, maybe you're gonna be, yeah.
Okay, but your kid wouldn't sneak out at 9 months.
True.
no, okay, so I'm saying that you stop for 9 months, then it's like when then you got a baby, so then you try to smoke, then you're like, oh fuck, now this is too much. Like I gotta wait even longer, and now you waited so many years and shit.
Yeah, but if they're already sneaking out, you probably already have been smoking by that point.
That's
Like,
true.
Yeah, true. How they get
You might have
past
smoked
you.
with your kid.
True. I would
I'm
do
not opposed to that.
Yeah, no, I know parents who smoke with their kids.
Yeah, when they
Yeah.
get to that age, I'm like, look, let's do this together.
Right.
Make sure you do it right.
Yeah, so you
Right.
don't go out there and do something stupid with your friend who
Right.
acts like he knows everything.
Smoking oregano.
Yeah,
Right. Oh my God. Exactly.
Man,
I'd rather them be safe with me than be
Same.
who knows where
Smoking oregano,
with who knows who.
buying it, taking my money, buying a bag of
I think
oregano.
that's Dom Kennedy that has a line. It was like he was talking about selling oregano in one of his songs.
I've definitely given a kid oregano before back in the day,
Crazy.
middle school.
I have not.
Me either. And I don't think I've ever smoked it.
I don't think I have either.
So
You
when
would
me and my
know.
friends were young, we would just like, we knew we weren't smoking weed, but we were just trying to smoke shit before we could even get our hands on weed. You know the plant thyme?
Yeah.
So my parents would grow thyme, so we'd get thyme, we'd smoke that shit, we'd like roll it up, and we would just get like spices and shit like that.
Did you feel like high?
At the time we thought we were, but we probably just like suffocating.
Yeah.
Low-key. We would get like
A
green tea
placebo
bags.
effect.
Yeah,
Empty out the tea bag, yeah, and then I would smoke the real weed, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Smoking real weed was the first time that I like forgot something that happened just a few moments ago, and I was like, "What?" Because we were smoking out of a little bottle, and then like we were running, like no, we had it in a little Gatorade bottle, and then we were running around and shit. And then I was like, I have no idea where that Gatorade bottle went, and it was right where I left it, and I was like, oh fuck, like that's crazy, like this is a lot different than that other shit.
Yeah, nothing's changed since then. I'd be like, where's
I will say, since I've stopped smoking, my mind's been a lot more clear. Like, I do remember things, or like my dreams came back. I wasn't dreaming for fucking forever. And then like the dreams were crazy vivid. I'm like, what
heard that.
the hell is going on?
Yeah, I heard when
Yeah.
people like stop smoking, their dreams start getting pretty crazy.
They do. Like, there were so many different storylines. It was like crossover episode after crossover episode. I'm like, what the fuck is really happening right now? But yeah, what else happened when I stopped smoking? Clear mind, stamina boosted, dreams came back. I never really needed to smoke to eat, but I think my appetite still increased a little bit.
Really,
Yeah.
man, I love eating. Smoking makes it so much worse when I'm trying to diet and I'm smoking.
Oh yeah.
I said it backwards. My appetite got suppressed because like I would smoke and then now I'm just eating anything and everything. Like go to the grocery store. Unfortunately, I always buy healthy snacks, so it's never like I have anything crazy good in the house. But like I would eat a whole fucking pineapple or like yes.
Pineapple is good. What are you talking about? Nothing good in the house.
Now I can slow myself down. I'm like, okay, girl, you don't need to eat the whole pineapple. Or like
Yeah.
Trader Joe's that have these like Korean pancakes with cinnamon in them. Go get it. If you haven't got them, go get it. They're so good, y'all. Like,
sounds good.
yes. And then I put ice cream on top.
Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get him started.
Right? I'm like, what time is it?
Yeah, can we go to the store?
So yeah,
That
I guess
sounds
my
good.
appetite got it's better. It's I don't just eat to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd smoke and be like, oh my god, I'm so hungry. Now I'm just eating at 2 o'clock in the morning for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So take us back to like when you moved from here. Did you go straight to Texas?
Okay, so 2020 happened. I was living in Winston. I had to move in with a family friend. I moved out of that family friend's house and moved to Texas. I lived in Texas for a year and a half, which was a blessing in disguise because my mom ended up having emergency brain surgery. Yeah, while I was out there. She's great now, much better than before. So it was like God works in mysterious ways because had I not moved out of that family friend's home into my mom's place, I don't know what would have happened with her surgeries. Like it would have just been a lot more difficult than being there and being able to go help her. Like actually flying down and like having to change my whole life that way.
Right.
The day she got cleared by her neurologist, though, I bought my plane ticket back to Charlotte because I did not enjoy living in Texas. It could have been because, yeah, it was just weird. Like, it could have been the caregiving aspect of it, but it was also like, she lived on the outskirts of Dallas. The people were just strange. Like, they were weird. I met cool people there, too, but, like, overall, I couldn't really just, it wasn't my vibe. I feel like the yoga community there was weird. Like, I had tried out for a yoga teaching job at Lifetime Fitness. And Shorty was like, oh, we're looking for more of a corporate style yoga, but we really liked how you taught. So you can come back and take some classes. And we have a yoga teacher training program where we teach you our form of yoga. And I'm like,
what does that mean?
What is corporate yoga?
Corporate? Yeah.
Is there a sound where you can like do like a what? But yeah, like corporate yoga. I was like, what the hell is corporate yoga? I made a whole post about it on my Instagram page because like
that just sounds like they took the fun out of yoga.
Yeah, literally. I'm like
capitalist yoga.
Completely and utterly. I'm like, okay, what is corporate yoga like? One yoga for me at least was liberation. Like it's supposed to liberate you. When I think of corporate, I think of like rules, regulations, white tie. I mean, black tie, whatever the fuck the saying is, where you dress up like it's not yoga.
They want you to do like downward dog and child's pose, and that's it.
Yeah, like I'm like, what is this? And then they don't want you to use the Sanskrit terms. I'm like, okay, but like we're taking away the actual art of yoga. Yeah. And it was a hot yoga studio. I don't like hot yoga. Like I know some people love it, that's their thing. I can't get with it. It could be my iron deficiency and I'd be feeling like I'm about to pass out. But like at the same time, I feel like hot yoga studios just popped up like McDonald's. Like excuse me. They're everywhere and like, I don't know. I don't think you get the real yogic experience from the hot yoga studios that I was going to in Dallas. So, okay, back to my life. Sorry, got off track. So, moved back to North Carolina in May of 2022. Lived here until August 31st, 2023. In that time, I did a number of things. I taught high school, which was crazy as hell. Worked in restaurants. Like, I did a whole bunch. And then one day, I was high. And I was sitting on my bed, and I'm like, I'm bored. I'm not really elevating here. Like, I feel like I could be doing just so much more. And I don't have any kids. I don't have, like, a boyfriend that I'm tied to. I don't have anything that's, like, keeping me in Charlotte. So I started looking up different acupuncture schools. I had already considered going to acupuncture school, but, like, I didn't know when I was going to do it. So looked up the schools. I found one, and it was like number 2 on the list. The number 1 school is in Seattle, and I damn sure wasn't going there. I need my sunlight.
Right.
Yeah. So I did some research on the school. It was July 25th, and put the locations in. My friend, he has a brand. It's called Collection Cloth. Put it in his hat. Shook it up. Pulled it out. The first one said online. I did draw twice. I'm like, okay, I'm not going online. I'm just not an online scholar. And then I was like, okay, threw that one away. Did it again. Pulled out New York. And I'm like, damn, all right, fuck it. So applied for the school that night. Did what I had to do. Wrote my letter. All the things. And then like July 27th, I got accepted. So like 2 days later. And I'm like, oh shit. Thank you. So from there, I used the month of August to pack my shit and like figure out where I was gonna live, which I was Airbnb hopping for a little while between like Jersey, because Airbnbs in New York were crazy as hell.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, like $4,000 a week.
You're joking.
I thought you were about to say a month, and I was already
Nah,
like, whoa.
I mean
Then you said
$4,000 a month is great, like for New
Yeah,
York,
yeah.
That's,
which isn't great.
For
I
a
would never
nice
pay
Airbnb.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I was like, okay, I will be staying in Jersey, because Jersey
Yeah.
was like $1,000 for a week versus the 4,000, and then
So did you just have, like, you were just going into your savings, or were you working as soon as you went there? Like,
my dad had a credit card, and he was like, if you really want to do this, I'll help you. So shout out to my dad. He definitely was a major part of me being able to chase this acupuncture dream, because I ain't had the money. I barely had any money, for real. Like, I was living with $1 in a dream. Maybe $1.07 in a dream, but like, yeah. So from there, I used my refund check from school to like actually get an apartment, because I still didn't have the money saved. And yeah, since then I've kind of just been working my ass off and making it work in Brooklyn.
nice.
Yeah.
What was teaching high school like?
It was the most unserious thing I ever did in my life. I probably never should have got hired as a teacher, only because like I already knew the school system was bullshit. But then when I started working in the school system, I'm like, oh, like, no, this is really some bullshit. Like, bullshit. They had me teaching physics and microbiology. I never took physics. So, I was using ChatGPT to create assignments.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's fire, though. You're like, I never did it, but I'll teach
And I told
them.
them that. Like, I'm like, microbiology, I took it in undergrad, but like, it was just a class. Like, that wasn't anything I was like, wasn't a concentration for me. So, yeah. I don't know why they thought I could do it, but I did it. But like I said, most serious thing I ever did. My whole thing was, if you just do something, like you can write your name and you could write whatever the hell you want to write on this paper. Just turn in something. I will give you 100. There's no reason you should not pass my class with an A. Like, because the kids didn't care anyway. Most of them want to be influencers or rappers, basketball players, the whole thing. And it's like, that's fine, but like, there's so much more y'all can be in the world. I want the younger generations to know that. But so yeah, and I actually did teach. Like, I didn't just go in there and bullshit, but
Yeah.
it was a joke. Like, and then you ask for help, they don't really help you. It was just kind of a slap in the face. I taught from, when did I start? I think March. So I started late. I was on like an emergency teaching license because of the fucking shortage. If y'all want to go get a teaching job, I know some places. But started in March. I turned in my resignation letter in April. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I told him I would finish the school year because like I didn't want to abandon the kids, because that's what the teacher whose class I took over did. She's like, yeah, I can't do this anymore.
Damn.
And I understand why. It was definitely hard. But I told him, I'm like, I'm not coming back next year, but I will finish out this school year. But I felt like a single mom of 90 plus kids. Like, I was buying groceries for the class. Like, I was doing a lot. Yeah. It was hard.
Was the pay decent?
No. I mean, yes, when you get it, and then it's like you get paid at the end of the month or the beginning of the month, one of the two. So it's like by the time I get my paycheck, I got my rent, I got my car note, I got my phone bill, I got all of these things I have to pay. And I got $14 left in my bank account. So it was kind of hard. I'm also not super responsible with my money, I'm going to be honest. So it was like, that didn't help, but it was hard.
Yeah. I had a question. I totally forgot my question.
My bad, girl.
That's okay.
I can't imagine like teaching high school students, because they're damn near adults.
They are. Well, they think they are, but they're really big babies.
They are, yeah.
They're really big babies. Like, so I went to Cox Mill, but then I transferred to Barry. And so I taught at Barry. So I taught at the same school I graduated from.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool. It wasn't cool, but it was cool. Like, it was cool to see some of the teachers that I had still in the school. And I'm like, oh, wow, y'all really love this. This is crazy. But yeah, working with them was fun. And like, I guess them seeing me as an adult and not as like a 16-year-old child anymore was cool.
No, they're not grading your papers. They're like your coworkers and shit.
Literally.
Now you see them being childish.
Yeah. And you're like, what the? I was learning from you?
Literally.
That's crazy.
Or like, I was going to damn, what's that place? They give you like free teaching supplies. I can't remember what it's called.
There's a school, the place that gives you free teaching supplies.
If you're a teacher, I can't remember the name of it.
Office Depot,
No.
Staples,
No, it's like
Costco.
it's for teachers specifically. It's like a little shop. It's on the west side of Charlotte.
We don't know it then.
Education station. I don't know. I can't remember. Somebody's gonna correct me and be like, the girl is blah 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 blah. Whatever. But I would go and use that because like I don't have the money to just spit out for supplies and stuff because they don't give you anything when you start. The teachers would come and be like, "Hey, Miss Dempsey." Oh, damn! I can't let my government.
We'll try and bleep it.
It's okay. I'll. Hey, can I borrow your stapler? Can I do this? Can I do that? Girl, you were here when I was a student. How do you not have these supplies? It was like they were taking advantage of me because I was a young teacher. And I guess I really didn't care because I wasn't coming back. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. Just take it.
I never even thought about that. Like when teachers are going for other classrooms borrowing stuff, like I feel like teachers are probably like, yo, get a fucking stapler.
Yeah.
Like the teacher beside me, she used to stress me out so bad. Like, one, she had literally been, I think, at that school for 15 plus years. There's no reason you shouldn't have every fucking supply in the world. Like,
And then some.
Yeah, literally. What I should be coming to you to ask for shit. I'm gonna knock on my door. Can you watch my class so I can use your computer for what do you mean? No, I can't. But I would do it sometimes. Sometimes I would tell her no because I just didn't have the energy. But yeah, the older teachers are really, they be on bullshit.
I feel like the whole, like you said, the whole school system just be on bullshit.
Yeah, my children will not go to public school.
I don't want to
Same.
do that either. I want to homeschool my kids because I'm like, first off, like if we have kids together, like you think I'm gonna send my black child to a public school where they're just gonna literally I don't remember where it was, but something happened to some kid in a school because his dreads were like past his shoulders, and I was like,
they cut his hair.
Yeah, they cut his hair.
I think they made him
to the school wilding out like you did not cut
Yeah,
my
like
kid's
rightfully
hair.
so. Because what the fuck? Why would y'all do that? I'm about to give you a lawsuit out the ass. It's about to be my son's name on the top of this school building.
right.
Right. Like what? Yeah,
I was
no.
like, you think you're gonna tell my child how to do their hair? Like, get out of here.
And it's like, so I substitute teach up north in New York. The way these teachers talk to kids, like, even the babies, is insane. I'm like, if I ever heard anybody talking to my child the way y'all talk to these kids, it would be me and you. Like, it's crazy. They don't. Granted, teachers don't make enough in all the things, but like you can still be a respectable person. Like you can still show these kids the proper love and respect. And granted, there's some teachers who do, but like they be talking to those kids crazy, crazy. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna homeschool my kids. And it's like, from me teaching physics, I'm like, these kids aren't learning anything for real. Like, I'm learning from ChatGPT and fucking Crash Course. So it's like, I know they aren't really learning anything. And it's like, none of my kids actually wanted to, except for one. I had a girl, she wanted to be a vet. And I really hope she makes it. I took the time to learn what I needed to learn to help her. Aww. But these kids don't care about physics and chemistry and microbiology. So it's like, why not teach your children something that they're actually interested in? That way, whenever they get into that, they'll thrive. Like, they don't care about calculus.
Right.
I don't give a damn about calculus. So it's just like, I don't know. I feel like the school system just doesn't, it's on purpose, but like, they don't try to actually instill children with anything that will benefit them in the future.
That's why when I was in high school, there was a teacher, shout out to Miss Bell. I never had her as a teacher, but like, I always heard about her class, and like everybody was always like talking good things, and like I was cool with her. Like me and her were cool. Like I'll still go back to school and like visit her to this day, and she'll talk to me and ask me questions. But I remember specifically everybody was talking about like she was teaching her students taxes. It wasn't in the curriculum, but she was like, you need to know about money, you need to know about this, and nobody else is going to teach you, so I'm going to make it my responsibility to teach you. And shout out to her for doing that, because like you don't learn anything about that stuff. You don't learn anything about money. They don't want you to know about money because they want you to just be a part of their system that they already created and
that you're already a part of by being in the public school system.
I will say this, I went in when I was in high school, when I lived in New Jersey, at Parsippany High School, one of the classes that you had to take was personal finances. And the teacher there, Mr. Papa, that was his real name, Mr. Papa. He made us do like taxes and shit like that. But like it was different because I was getting graded on it, and like I don't know, grades weren't something that really like motivated me to like learn shit.
Yeah.
Like they did but didn't. If they were like, you're gonna fail, I'd be like, all right, chill. Like I'll show up and shit like that. But it's funny like what you said about how you were looking shit up on ChatGPT and shit, because I feel like when I was in school, it was really just like I feel like I didn't learn much from my teachers, but they told me what I had to know, and then I would go like Google shit or like figure it out. So like that makes sense, because I was always feeling like, damn, homeschooling would be really hard because I should know so much. But then it's like, it's on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really gotta know in order to teach is something that I'm learning. Like, you can just, as long as you know how to, like, communicate the information in a way that's, like, comprehensible to other people, then you can be a teacher, so to speak.
Yeah, and then to an extent, because I feel like there are certain things where it's like with yoga, I couldn't just look something up and be like, okay, we're gonna do this and not know the benefits and everything behind it. With physics and like microbiology and things, like it was really like you're just spitting it out, because at the end of the day, that stuff doesn't really change. But yoga is kind of tailored to you and who you are as a person. So it's like, if I don't know a modification for this pose and you have a back problem, then I could make you 10 times worse. Whereas like if I tell you this formula, the formula is going to be the formula now and forevermore. So it's like, I get what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking more like homeschooling my kids, like just making sure they knew the basics.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that. But yeah, I think things like that, like how to do something with your body is a little more
true.
than just talking. You got to be able to actually do it. But I have seen really good like yoga teachers, or like being like going to yoga programs where like you can almost close your eyes and do the whole thing, because they're so good at like explaining like how to
Cues are
transition.
so important.
Yeah.
Honestly, I teach with my eyes closed. I'm not supposed to.
Oh, so you could see what, like,
Excuse me.
if someone's fucking up or something?
Well, I don't teach the whole time with my eyes closed, but it's kind of like, I guess I could, for lack of better words, it's like I channel what I'm doing. So it's like I go based off what I see in the class and like what needs to go next. And so when I tune in within, it's easier with my eyes closed. So it's like, as I'm teaching, I'll be like, okay, guys, we're going to do this, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I don't know, it helps me flow. But I definitely, like, I walk around, I give adjustments. Like, I'm a hands-on yoga teacher because I feel like, one, a lot of people don't get, like, human-to-human contact a lot. So they're like, when you actually come and you just press your hands on their lower back a little bit in child's pose, and they find that extra sense of relief. It's like, wow, like, I didn't even know I could find that bit of comfort just from this little touch on my back. So for moments like that, it helps. Where was I going with that? I just drew blank for no reason at all.
You're talking about
Human
teaching with your eyes closed.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Sorry. So for moments like that, I have to reopen my eyes, obviously. But yeah, a lot of the time when I teach, or even when I'm in other people's yoga classes, I try to close my eyes and actually just tune in. So I'm not looking at other people on their mat, because I feel like some people do that in yoga classes. Like they compare themselves to other people. I could have been doing yoga for 30 years. And that's the only reason why I look as good as I do. And this is your first class. Don't compare. Like, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Like, you can't compare.
That's when we went to, when we first like got into yoga, one of our friends was teaching somewhere and they ended up doing like, they had like free yoga like every Friday or something like that. And like when we first went, they were like very like, you know, everyone is different. Do what feels comfortable for you. Like if you see someone else doing some pose, they just might be a little bit more flexible. They might have been doing it way longer. Like, you know, if that's not comfortable for you, don't do that.
Yep, that's how I start all my classes. I'm like, I'm just your guide. If you feel uncomfortable, you don't have to do it. This is your practice. I'm just guiding you through it. And everybody's body is different. So honor your body, honor your needs, and do what feels comfortable for you. Push yourself a little bit, because it's like sometimes we can do a lot more than we think we can. We let our mind get in the way. But don't hurt yourself trying to be with like everybody else on the mat. It's your practice. I'm just guiding you through it.
My favorite part of yoga classes is when they like, the ones that I've gone to, and they tell you to like, you could do anything, and they're like, feel free to just like lay on your back, and I just lay down.
Talking about Shavasana?
I don't know.
Or is it like the freestyle portion? Because some classes, like they'll give you like 10 breaths to do whatever you want, and then you'll go into Shavasana, which is like where you lay on your back and you can have your eyes closed, eyes open, whatever you want to do, and then like they'll normally do like sound bowl or like shavasana. I love
like
shavasana. I snore sometimes in shavasana.
That's a vibe.
Yeah, I feel like everybody kind of snores a little bit during that. Like,
Take
you
a
just get
little
too
nap.
comfortable.
Yeah, that happened one time. Everybody was gone, and I woke up, and I guess like they had another class, so they didn't wake me up. And I looked around. I'm like, why didn't y'all wake me up? They're like, you look so peaceful, girl. I don't even know
That's
how long I was
crazy.
there. Yeah, it was wild.
That's so funny.
That was in Texas actually.
That's funny because that's like, oh, one of my fears of mine. Like whenever I would be anywhere, like if I fell asleep, like if we were like out somewhere and I was tired, like I'd like fall asleep like against the door type shit. Like y'all are not leaving me here. Like I'm gonna wake up. Like there's no way that people could leave me there. I would hate if I fell asleep in a class, woke up, and there was like different people around me.
And it's like, who are y'all? I fell asleep in one of my online classes. Everybody else's cameras was off, and like we had like our 15-minute break. I did not mean to fall asleep, but like it was a night class. It was from 6 to 9, so it was kind of just impossible to stay up. And I laid on my bed, so it was like I set myself up for the kill. But I opened my eyes. Everybody's cameras off. Nobody's there. I'm the only one camera on. Like you see my eyes closed. And I'm like, oh no, like it's so embarrassing.
Oh man, they watch you sleep the whole time.
Yeah, probably. Luckily, like. I'm a geek, so it's like I like to participate in class. So I guess my professor didn't like say anything to me because he probably just figured I was tired, and I was exhausted. But it was definitely embarrassing because I'm like, I wonder how many people. I'm the type of person I'm gonna click through and see what everybody else is doing in class. I'm just nosy like that. So I wonder how many people were clicking through and looking at me like, oh, she is knocked the fuck out, because I was definitely knocked out. Like woke up with drool and all. I'm like,
Oh no.
yeah.
That'd be me in real classes.
I used to go to sleep in high school.
I'd be sleeping good in some classes.
They were just too easy. That's why I would go to sleep. I was like, I understand the material. I have no reason to be awake right now. I'm tired. I got track practice later. I got here at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Facts.
Yeah.
I remember one time this teacher would get mad at me for sleeping. So whenever she would wake me up, I would just say amen. Like I was just praying.
No, that's funny. What can you even say to that? What did she have? What was her rebuttal?
Well, she was our science teacher, and she was like atheist. And I would
shit,
like,
I pissed her off even better.
yeah, I would. But and actually, I got written up for bullying her. I didn't really bully her, but I was just like, I would just always tell her like I'm gonna pray for her and shit like that. Like I would like not in a mean way. Like I would just like, you know, whenever they have like tests that like don't matter at the end of the year type shit, like they're just kind of trying to see like
where your progress is.
Yeah, you know, like overall, like you don't even gotta put your name on it, whatever. Like I would just put in like it was like a fill in the blanks. I would put Jesus in all of them. Tell her Jesus was always the answer.
Thought you were taunting her. Oh, my knees.
And then yeah, she said that I was bullying her, trying to. I said I was just trying to save her, but she wasn't with it.
That's crazy.
I hope she knows God loves her.
I'm sure Samaj told her plenty of times.
So what's your like I guess relationship with your spirituality?
You know, I had a feeling you were going to ask me this yesterday, and I was like, okay, I need to make sure I have the right answer, because I feel like my relationship with God has changed a lot, and it's changed in a way that most people wouldn't actually understand, because now when I think of God, I don't think of some white man in the sky who's judging me in my every move. Like, I think of God as a universal energy of love. And so when I was thinking of what I was going to say yesterday, I was like, how do I explain this without sounding absolutely insane? But, you know, if I sound crazy, that's between me and God. I guess God is kind of like whoever you embody God as. So it's like if you embody God as a white man in the sky, that's cool. That's you and your God. But like the God that I'm coming to understand just from like different spiritual practices and my meditations and like actually communing with God. Like when I was preparing to move to New York, that was probably the most I ever got down on my knees and prayed and like meditated and took shit serious. One, because I knew I was going to New York by myself. So I'm like, okay, like if you really want me to do this, Lord, I need to know, like,
right.
I need the signs. But yeah, I realized like for myself, my spiritual beliefs, I don't think God is a person in the sky. I think God is everywhere. Like, and that's what, like in church, it used to always confuse me with like, God sees everybody and everything. I'm like, well, how the hell can God see everything and everybody and be in every room if he's just a man in the sky? Like, it, I don't know. It never made really sense to me. Even as a pastor's kid, like I'm a PK.
Hey, so is he.
Yeah. hard knock life. My mom was like, she was a deaconess. My grandpa was a pastor. Like, it was just a long life of, I wouldn't say hardcore Christianity, but like, we live in the Bible Belt. So it's like, if you're not a Christian, then you're not doing life right. And I wouldn't say that I'm not a Christian, but like, I don't follow the Christian faith based off of what I'm being told now. Like, I still go to church. Like, I don't have a problem with doing things like that. But like, I'm learning, like, my relationship with God is a personal relationship. So it's like, if I depend on somebody else telling me what their relationship is with God is like, I can't help myself. And then I also had the realization, like, that's kind of what they did with the slaves. Like, they told them who their God was. And then the more you pray to somebody else's God, the more power you give them. And so it's like, once I realized, okay, I need to actually have my own relationship with God and see where we can take these things. And if, like, I'm full throttle, then it's been beneficial. I'll say that. So I don't really know, like, when people are like, oh, what's your religion? I wouldn't say I'm not Christian, but like, I'm not your atypical Christian at all.
Well, yeah, that's why I worded it like, what's your like relationship with like your spirituality? Because like you said, I grew up very in a church. Christianity's one way. You're supposed to be like this, that, and the third, and the same things of like, how can God know everything? Blah blah blah. And then a big thing in my spiritual journey that like I got over that. I was probably like 17 at the time, but I was tripping on acid, and I would like trip acid by myself, you know. Just, I don't know if you've ever tripped before.
Not acid.
But like, you know how like, even if you're high, just whatever, you don't want to like fuck up the vibe for everyone. You want to make sure everyone's having a good trip. And like, for me personally, whenever I would trip, I would feel the responsibility, like everyone got to be having a good time. So sometimes I would just do it by myself to really like, just be like, I don't gotta worry about that.
Be the dad of the group,
right?
Yeah, just like, all right, everything's good. I'm good. Like, I don't got to be like, do I want to listen to this song? Oh, like, damn, I want to change a song now. Like, is that gonna, like, you know, I just do it. So, but one time I was tripping by myself, and then I was praying. Bless you. That was like, silent sneeze.
I think it was a yawn.
Sorry.
Okay,
I thought it was a sneeze at first.
Thank you for blessing me. I'll always take it.
But I was tripping. I was praying, and then I was praying for a while, just kind of like talking to God about a bunch of stuff. And then I stopped praying, and then I started thinking to myself, and then I was just like, I'm doing the same shit right now. And then that's when I really like started getting into the idea of having a higher self and understanding like God is that higher self. And then everyone has a higher self, and like, you know, I think that there's a connection of the higher selves, and that's how like there's God in all of us. But yeah, my point in my spiritual journey, I'm open to anyone's church, you know, like I don't care what religion you are, like everything with a grain of salt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like I look at it like I never liked school, but like even when I wasn't in school, like I would still like sit in on certain classes because I'm like, I like information, you know what I mean? So like that's kind of how I look at like churches and religions and whatnot. There was a little bit where I was like really interested in the Islamic faith. Not to say that I'm not still interested in learning about it, but like through learning about other religions, one thing I really do like about Christianity is that it's real, just like, hey, like as long as you say sorry and you keep trying, like you straight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I think that a lot of people in churches like corrupt what everything's about, but I'm like, just the general like idea of like, say sorry, mean it, do better. I'm like, that's a lot easier, because like some like with the most with something I learned about like the Muslim faith is like, if you do a certain sin and you die within 40 days, it's a wrap.
Really?
Yeah, like that's why they're like a lot more strict though, because they're like, there's a like, I can't just say sorry.
My soul is on at stake.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, nah, I like the fact that I could say sorry. Like
you got some flexibility.
That seems like more like God though. That seems like what like I think a God would do. Like a God who's just gonna be mad at me and be like, I'm sorry, and they're like, nah, I don't want to hear it. It's just like, whoa, like
yeah,
I mean
like
it.
Very
like,
human.
Yeah,
literally. And I think a lot of people try to make God human.
Yeah.
God is so much more than human.
And we don't understand that because we only think like humans. So
not a white man in the
not
sky.
a white man.
Respectfully, he's not no white man in And like even sometimes when I say he, that's just like the conditioning. From
Yeah,
being in the
why
church.
is it a he? Like he don't have gender parts.
Yeah.
Like he shouldn't have a gender. He doesn't need to procreate. Like
And
that's
I
why we
think-
have that.
I think that's like the hard part for people who are like really hardcore Christians is like hearing things like this and they're like, well, how could you say that? And it's like, well, what proof do you have? You saw God?
For me, I don't think that God's necessarily like there is no gender,
Yeah.
but saying he, I guess the reason I feel comfortable with that is like just like in a lot of language, like if there's a group of guys and girls, you could say what's up guys, and it's just like
Yeah.
a general thing. So like I look at it like God is like everything. Like God's not a thing. God's man, woman, good, evil, like every concept is God. Like because I feel like a lot of people also look at like the opposite of God is the devil, where it's like that's not even it.
The devil came from God.
Yeah, like
I
it's
saw
all,
a thing and it was like the devil is just God upside down. And I was like, oh.
the devil is God upside down.
Yeah. Well, I say God is the devil.
God is the
upside
devil.
down.
Okay, yeah, explain that.
Yeah. So like, basically, I look at the devil as like your egotistical self, like your lower self, yourself who keeps you comfortable, who doesn't want you to see you elevate, and it's like a trickster basically, because it's like you think all of these things are actually going to help you, and it's like in reality, it's either going to keep you right where you're at or bring you lower. And so like when I heard that God is the devil upside down, or the devil is God upside down, maybe it is, I don't know. Now I fucked up the quote. I said it right the first time. It just made me realize, one, I have no real reason to fear the devil. Like, if that's the case, it's just like, I can beat you. If that's because I'm right side up. I'm not hanging upside down.
Right.
And so, like I was just saying, when Jesus was fasting for the 40 days, and like the devil was like, if you're hungry, turn this rock into bread, or like jump down and the angels will catch you. That was his higher self testing him to see if he was actually committed to doing what he said he was going to do for these 40 days. Like when he said, "Get thee behind me, Satan," in my opinion, he was talking to his lower self. He was like, no, I'm a boss up and I'm going to do what I got to do to get to this next level, because like at the end of the day, if I do these things that you're just telling me to do because I can, I'm not being disciplined. I'm not actually being consistent in what I told God I was going to be disciplined and consistent in, and I can't actually elevate to this next level that I'm trying to get to.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that too with that story, but I've heard it more so in the sense of like Satan was trying to get Jesus to like obey him, which I think multiple things could be true at the same time.
Absolutely.
It's funny. It's just motherfucker I don't like. I just got angry thinking about them. I'll tell you whom after, because I think you do know them.
Okay.
But they're a smart kid. But basically they were talking about the meaning of like the word Satan, and a big part of it is just like being the oppressor, or not the oppressor, the opposer.
Yeah, the adversary.
Yeah, of like whatever someone's trying to do, and that definitely like it made me think of things a lot differently, because it's just like like someone could be someone Satan. Like everyone has a different. What's that quote? Like you're someone Satan in their story or whatever.
You're the villain in someone else's story, which
Yeah.
is the same thing.
But it does make sense, and I guess like it's easy to be like, oh no, that's not possible. But then it's like, nah, I guess if I'm getting in the way of something that you're trying to do, whatever that might be, like.
Might be your devil.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I also think people like they give Satan, the devil, whoever you want to call that energy, too much power, because it's that ass. But they give too much power to that, because it's just like, one, you can overcome it. Like you don't have to fall into whatever that lower energy is calling you into. And two, I think people are too afraid. Like as people don't want to talk about like, excuse me, I got a burp. They don't want to talk about how like they might be fighting demons and this, that, and the third, because people don't, the English language demonized those words. But like from watching anime, I realized like the demons aren't necessarily horrible things. Like I watched Demon Slayer, and they were slaying those demons, but they weren't afraid to do it. Like the village people were. But I feel like the people who actually realized they had a mission and had like a higher purpose in this lifetime, they were bossing up and stepping up to the plate and doing what they had to do to slay those demons. And so once I started watching more anime and things, I looked at demons differently, because I feel like Asian culture, and I could be wrong, but I don't think they necessarily look at demons the same way like we look at demons and like the devil energies and stuff like that. Not to say that I fuck with that kind of energy, but like, I don't know, it's just nothing to fear. And granted, I guess, you know, we all have moments of fear, but it's just like, you don't have to stay in it.
I don't think fear is like from God.
Not
so
at all.
I think that we shouldn't fear. I think obviously we will as human beings, flawed people. But I definitely agree with that. And I also feel like we shouldn't like fear those things, so to speak. And like, it's funny, we've been talking about like the concept of demons recently too. And one of the things is like, you know, growing up, I would always think of like this demon as like, oh, this is this thing from hell that's this very specific ancient name, this person, whoever that is. But now I look at it more so in the sense of like, there's demons that latch themselves onto people, societies, groups, and like some of that could be like addiction was a big one that I guess is kind of like
capitalism
shown its head. You know, capitalism, fucking anything. There's just like greed,
yeah.
You know, there's anxiety, a lot of
depression,
these things.
yeah.
And I actually saw this thing where this guy was saying like, if you're ever like anxious or whatever, like you could literally be like, I cast this demon of anxiety out, and like I command the angels of love and prosperity into my life and things like that. And I definitely believe in that. 100%. I feel like I feel like we have so much power, and I think that we have way more power than the negative forces that are, because, you know, like they say, there's a little bit of God in all of you. They don't say there's a little bit of evil.
There's a lot of God in you,
know?
actually.
You're
and
made
I
in
think,
his image.
literally,
Yeah.
and I think like if more people understood Christ consciousness, which is something like I'm more into, like with the spiritual aspect of things, they will realize you can do all of the things that Jesus did. Like, you are his brother, his sister. So embody that energy, be that powerful being that God made you to be. And I think a lot of people are afraid to actually do it because it's hard. Like I said, you have to be disciplined, you have to be consistent, you have to do the work. It's not just going to come to you. But I don't know, I think some people are afraid. And there's a song, I don't know if y'all listen to Salt. They're a band from the UK. Absolutely fucking love this band. Y'all listen to Cleo Soul or heard of Cleo Soul?
I've heard,
I love her. Oh, she's amazing. But she's a part of this band. It's like an anonymous band. She's one of the only people who, like, she doesn't even show her face, but her voice is so distinctive that you know she's in it. And they have a song called Jack's Gift. And like in the beginning, it's just it's like a harp playing, I think. It's just very peaceful. And then in the song, there's only two energies in the world. There's love and there's fear. And it's like, she goes in depth of like what love is and then what fear is. And I think a lot of people are living in fear and they don't realize like you can shift your mind to the energy of love. And I think specifically the United States was built on fear. Like fearing, not to bring up slavery again, sorry, but to fear your masters.
Don't
or like,
apologize for that. Like, that happened.
it did happen, and it's like it's still happening. And I think a lot of people don't realize, like I had to realize like a lot of things that my parents did or like do, I'm like, oh, but this is because your parents did that and their grandparents did it. Like, it's just a cycle of like fear being instilled to us. And it's like, until you actually wake up and realize like, oh shit, like this is something they're brainwashing us with, and we don't necessarily realize it. It's hard to notice that it's not normal. And so when you shift to like the energy of love, it's not to say that you won't ever have fearful moments, because like I'm afraid of spiders, so it's just like, you know, things like that happen. But tapping into the love frequency, if we want to call it that, allows you to find the courage to be like, okay, even though I'm afraid, I can still step forward. I can still do what I need to do to overcome this. And it might not be easy. It might take days. It might take years. But it's just like knowing that you have that power, I think is what's important.
100%.
Yeah.
It's definitely all about your mindset. Like, you know, so many people say it, like if you shift your mindset, like so many things change. If you're only focusing on the negative, you're only going to speak negative.
And it's hard.
Everything's negative.
Yeah.
And it is hard.
It's hard as fuck.
Yeah. It's not an easy thing, but like, you know, I guess you just have to keep reminding yourself, like, you know, if you're going through something, like, you just got to keep reminding yourself you're gonna get through it. Like, instead of harping on all of the negative, like, speak more positive, and then your life will turn around and be more positive. Like, it really all is perspective. Honestly, once you switch your perspective, then your life changes. So I don't know. And then we've also been like, we've been going to church and stuff. So actually on Sunday when we were just there, they said that like one of the main things that is repeated multiple times throughout the Bible is
Do
fear
not fear. Yeah. 365 times, one for every day in the year. You go, come on, I know my shit.
There you go. And I was like, wow. Like, honestly though, like, it makes so much sense. Like, and you like, if you, I guess, have a relationship with God, like, what is there to fear? Like, you know, the negativity, the demons, whatever you want to call it, like, they can't touch you if you have that relationship with God. Like,
no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And it's like, you have to actually, you can say it and not believe it, but I feel like you have to actually start believing it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all you need. You need a mustard seed of faith, and you just gotta believe it. You can do.
I feel like even just saying it, like, will help you start
Speaking
believing it.
It's like affirmations. It's an affirmation.
100%.
Yeah. I remember being in like vacation Bible school or like Bible study and
VBS. They used to really try to make you go to Bible study over summer and call it
summer.
vacation Bible
like,
school.
No. But they would give you the mustard seed, and that shit was so small. And then when you realize how small mustard seed like actually is, it's like, whoa, like, this is all I need. And it's like, this might be all you need to start, but I think to maintain, you need more.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, they fall short with the maintaining, because it's like, I have to continually fill this cup. It's like, a mustard seed is small, so if I'm pouring into this cup daily, it'll grow. Like, it's like a seed. So you have to water a seed for it to grow.
Right. That's actually the thing I like about church, is because I didn't go to church for a long time, and
Same.
I had things just going on with my personal relationships with God and whatnot. But now I find comfort in going more frequently, because it keeps it in the forefront of my mind. I feel like as the week goes on, I'm thinking about it a little less, and then every Sunday I feel a little more locked in, and then as you know, I feel like that cycle or whatever. But yeah, we've been trying to do more things, you know. Recently it's been Ramadan, and during the Ramadan there's a lot of fasting.
Y'all celebrated?
Partially.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
he
say
was
kudos.
trying to.
I tried.
He did it for a couple weeks.
Good job. I get so thirsty. Like, I tried it. I did not make it long.
Yeah.
It's not even the eating. It's
the food and drink from sunrise. It's like, y'all be waking up at what time? Like 4
you gotta get up
a.m.?
at 4 to eat breakfast, right? And then you can't eat till like 7 something.
The issue was I never woke up at 4, so it was just.
We were just dry for the whole day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're training too, so like, you're going to class. You're not drinking any water. Like, you can't work out as hard as you do and not eat or drink.
I don't know how Kyrie Irving does it, because I think he celebrates and like.
No,
and I think he had like, it was one game a couple years ago and he went crazy, and they were like, and he's celebrating Ramadan. And I was like, whoa, like, that's spiritual discipline. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Yeah, but did it for a little bit. But just while you're doing it, one of the things you're supposed to be doing is like reading your Bible a lot, which I think. Like, not my idea, but one of the things I think comes from Ramadan. I like saying it like that.
Yeah, you got to put the emphasis on it. Give it a little.
But I think just having that, like, month, that period of being super locked in, kind of like I was saying, like, every Sunday, like, you know, having that period of, like, I only go to church for an hour on Sunday, you know what I mean? But, like, just that hour alone helps the rest of the week. So I'm like, I could see them having like a crazy month that just kind of like, you know, it still casts a shadow or a light on the rest of the year. And then every year when it comes back around, you know, like, I feel like after Ramadan, like, it's probably hard to break out of those habits of like praying and all that stuff as much. And then as you know, Ramadan's coming back up, then you're kind of like, okay, maybe I should start locking back in. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that it has a lot of balance in it.
For sure.
I don't know what they do in like Buddhist faiths, but like I'm trying to figure that out too.
I don't know too much about Buddhism, but actually, I read a really good book. It's called Being Zen, Being Black and Zen, I think. It's by Angel Kyoto. It's a really good book. A really, really good book. But she just talks about being a Black Buddhist and like the pathways to peace and like mindfulness and like the different things that she had to let go of and basically her life journey on becoming a Black Buddhist. But it's a really good book. But it wasn't like informative. It was more like
her story.
Yeah, but it's good. Back to the church thing too. I haven't been in a physical church in a good little minute. Honestly, I think since I moved from Texas. I'm not proud of it, but I mean, I think for me, finding a church that I can actually resonate with has been hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like I went to Elevation a lot, like a lot. I was there every Sunday for probably like 3-4 years. But then I started to realize the sermons were repeating themselves. And I'm like, okay, wait, I got notes from this from 3 years ago with a different title. So it's like, it kind of got hard. So I stopped going to church and listening to sermons too. And then I found Agape Church. It's in California with like Pastor Michael Beckwith.
Oh, what?
Agape, which means the unconditional love that God has for men. Yeah, I have it on my foot. I have it tattooed.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's like for me, I have it on my foot, so I walk in that every day.
Ooh, yes.
That's a bar.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to be intentional with my tattoo. But I really like his theology and like how he preaches. It's not super like Bible thumpy, but it's like there's biblical references to it, but then there's like real life references. There's spiritual references. Like I really just enjoy the way that he conveys his messages.
Right.
And I feel like I can relate to it. And I would love to find a church, like a physical building, because I grew up in the church, so it's like it's almost like it's a part of me.
Yeah.
But I think it's just hard because I started to realize like a lot of the pastors don't even live up to what they're saying, and it made church so difficult. Yeah, like it made church difficult.
I feel like that's just the problem with religion in general.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like, don't do this, don't do that. But then it's also like, you shouldn't be judging anybody. God should be judging them. So like, I feel like that's what kind of like turned me off from religion for a little bit. Like, you know, I grew up Christian. And then like, you know, as I got older and was thinking for myself, I'm just like, everybody is a hypocrite. Like why are we going to church just to have hypocritical people like judging me and talking to me? But then like one day his friend invited us to church, and like I wasn't going to church for like a good minute. Like I would go on Easter with my family.
I haven't even been to an Easter service.
Really? Yeah, my mom just would be like, let's go to church tomorrow, and I'll be like, okay, it's Easter, like, you know, why not? But yeah, we didn't go for a minute, but then he invited us, and I was just like one big thing that I've noticed about churches, like when I would go, like sometimes like with my family or whatever, I really hate when they keep mentioning me donating money to them. Like I hate that.
It's like, okay,
how many times
if y'all
broke,
just say that,
right? like how many, like why you got to say it 10 times throughout this whole service to donate to your church? Like I've been here one time.
I saw a church, they even came up with a Cash App. I'm like, oh no, y'all are coming hard. Like
oh, you don't got cash, don't worry about it.
Yeah, Cash App, and it was like on the screen with the QR code and everything. I'm like,
no, I hate that.
Yeah.
And like one thing that really like I guess solidified us going to this church.
What church do y'all go to?
We go to Mech Church, like not too
down the street.
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard of it. I've been there before. I like Mech Church. I haven't been in a good minute, but I've been.
I really have been enjoying going there because they're like, if you don't like, if you're just exploring and like you're just trying to like figure things out, like please don't donate. Like we have plenty of people who donate. Like
I love that. They're not
like,
money hungry.
Yes, and they're also very like, we're not here to judge you. Like we know that you're coming here as a sinner. I'm going to speak to you as a sinner because that's what we all are. We are not perfect. Like we're all in our different journeys. Like we just want to talk to you about it. And like he's a pastor, but he's also a professor of, I think, religion or theology or something like that. So like he'll bring up real life facts that are happening like right now, but also bring up the Bible to like tie them into like how we're living right now. Like, you know, he'll talk about like, I guess like men's like depression and things like that, and like talking about like all the facts and stuff, but he'll also like bring up things like from the Bible to like tie into that. And I think that's like super cool. It feels kind of like more like a TED Talk we always say.
Okay, because that's like, cool though, because it's like it's more educational. It's not just preaching.
Right.
The first Sunday I went there, I was like, that was weird. I was like, I don't know how I feel. Like I kept going back, but it was because I was like, and yeah, I feel like it's even bad to say, but like it didn't feel manipulative.
Right.
And I'm like,
and a lot of churches are manipulative.
I'm like, but you know, a part of me felt like, you know, there's supposed to be a little bit of something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess I didn't. Sometimes in church, I get like these feelings where like it's a super emotional.
Yeah.
And I felt like I wasn't getting that, so that was weird to me. But then I realized like, nah, I'm actually like learning stuff though. Like I usually in church it never was about the learning. It just felt like they got me to this emotional point.
Right.
And
they made me feel bad about myself.
Yeah.
So I feel no choice but to come back the next week so I can like be filled with the Spirit.
Yeah.
It's like, am I really being filled with the Spirit, or are you just making me realize I have a lot of issues and like you have these same issues because you're preaching about them, and so it's like, I don't know, it's almost like trauma dumping in a church.
Yeah, the thing that I've also learned recently is that most Christians aren't really Christian. Like, and kind of like we were talking about earlier, how is like when you try to get on your shit, you realize like it's harder to be around people because like they're not on that. Even in the journey of like discovering God and stuff like that, like I've come to realize like, dang, a lot of the people who are like about that life or about this life, like they don't really get the point. And I realized like that was keeping me out of church because I thought that since they were so about it, I thought everything they were doing was right. And then like it's just like, oh, if you really look at these stories, like that's not it. Even if someone's like, oh, this person's a sinner, fuck them, blah 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 blah, it's like, bro, that's literally not it. Like that's literally why Jesus died. Like, if someone's a sinner, you're supposed to like want
Love
to be
them.
around them and teach them the way.
Like Jesus was hanging out with the thugs and the fucking
The
robbers.
prostitutes,
Literally, like he wasn't hanging out with the holier than thou people.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like now that's how everything is. It's like if you're not, it's almost like, oh, you're not good enough to be like around us. It's kind of like the vibe that I get from a lot of people, and that's what pushed me away. And then even now, like kind of like opening myself back up to it, I'm seeing that, but now I see it with a little more perspective and understanding and wisdom, knowing like, okay, like they're just not where they need to be on their journey either.
I realized I realized church, I was thinking about yoga in my head. I realized church has become a business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not really like, this isn't to say all churches, obviously, but like, they just want people to show up so they can pay their bills and do what they want to do instead of actually caring about the liberation of souls and like saving people, which is unfortunate. Because it's just like people are actually coming to y'all because they need the help. They're looking for the help and they don't really know where else to go. And it's hard to tune into yourself and get that help because it's like we get full of so much bullshit that it's just like actually digging through that and realizing like, oh, I can tap into God through myself. It's not easy.
For sure.
It's not easy at all.
And it's not easy when people care more about making money on their business than actually helping people. Like, you want me to donate to you, but like, what are you doing to help people? Like,
and that's another reason why I did like Elevation, because they do like Love Week, where it was like a week in the summer and they would do nothing but volunteer projects and stuff like that. It was mad cool. And like, I think I appreciate churches who do still like do outreach programs and things, because it's just like, as the church, you're supposed to be helping those less than you. Or it really bothers me when churches don't speak about political issues.
That's funny. I say it's funny because right now our church is doing a series where the series is, what does the Bible really say about blank? And then it's like the things that people ask the most.
I guess the church voted on like the 5. Like,
that's cool. At least they got the people to vote too, because it's like the pastor could have easily been like, okay, these are the 5 topics I want to talk about.
Exactly. So one of them was politics, and I was like, oh, okay. And basically the gist of it was like, as a Christian, a follower of God, you are 100% supposed to be like involved in politics, but like don't do it in the like, your political views should be based on God. Christ.
Like it should not, your political views should not trump like God. So like if let's say you're a Democrat and you're whoever is, I guess, in charge of the Democrats, like, is saying something that like they should do. If it's not godlike, like, you should not subscribe to that.
But also, like, moreover, that if you're a Democrat and this person's a Republican, for you to sit here and be like, I hate them because they're blah blah blah, like, you're already missing
you already
the
got
point.
the idea wrong.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, like, that's not how you're supposed to go about it. And the idea that if you're the reason you should be into politics is because you want to help people.
Right.
Like, that's the point of politics.
politics is another business, though.
Yep.
Like,
It does become a
100%.
business.
yeah.
And the church and politics, it's
The church and
slippery
what is it?
slope.
Church and state. Like, the separation between church and state is there's no separation for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, they fooled us in what 7th grade
100%.
U.S. history.
It's definitely a slippery slope.
All of
It
the
is,
history.
literally all of the
Yeah.
history.
100%.
Actually, speaking of history, I think I had a major like just identity switch in college. I took a class called Black Psychology, and I just realized like how bullshit the American system is, and like that goes back to me talking about the whole brainwashing thing. One of the first things my teacher taught, Dr. Lewis, I hope she's doing well. She said that you are a divine spirit in a physical container having a human experience. And that's one of the things I will never forget. I might forget a lot of shit. I even forgot a lot of shit on this couch, which is crazy because I was talking about how I don't have brain fog anymore. But I've been on bullshit since I've been home. I've been eating like I don't eat and all this. But yeah, she said you're a divine spirit in a physical container having a human experience. And like we learned a lot about African I guess we could say theology, like theology and like principles and stuff, and just how they view the world. And it made me realize like the American system is not for the people at all. Like I knew it to an extent, but like diving deeper into that just made me realize like, wow, like this is really a rat race and we just keep running in it. And it's scary and it's sad. I wish a lot more people knew.
Right. And they'll like, a lot of people will like go to the death, like fighting for like, oh, thinking that the government cares about you and the government knows what's right, and listen to the doctors and listen to this, and it's like
the government does not give a fuck about you.
You are a number.
Literally.
You're nothing but a number to them. Whatever your social number is, like, that's your number. Like,
your birth certificate is your receipt.
Your receipt.
And I really like this whole TikTok ban.
How do you feel about it?
Okay, I was anti-TikTok for a long fucking time, like especially in 2020, but that's because I thought China was using it to spy on the phones and all that shit. Like I let that get to me. And then I got on TikTok because of like my holistic wellness business and everything. And I was like, okay, well, I actually want to help people. So it's like, let me get on here and try to do it. I'm also just not really a social media person, so it was hard. I am a social media person, but I don't like putting myself out there. Like I'd rather just indulge in other people's content.
Right.
But with the ban, I hate it. Actually, I'm not for it because I realized a lot of people are learning about how shitty America is and just like how shitty the world is really, because even like the war in Congo and Sudan and Gaza, or like, you know, all the things that's happening, and it's like we have the small pockets of people who recognize the bullshit and they come to platforms like this and they get millions of views, and then the government is like, oh shit, like they're on to us. Yeah. We gotta hide this shit. Like even if we don't have to talk about politics anymore, we can go into like health and wellness, because I take my health very serious. I found out I was like pre-diabetic. I had a cyst in my breast. Like it was a whole bunch of bullshit. And my grandmother died from cancer. My grandfather had diabetes and passed away. So I'm like, okay, this is obviously a generational curse, if we want to call it that. And I love myself enough to want to break that cycle. So I went plant-based. I did all of the things. Like I said, I've been on bullshit since I've been home because I had to try the bowberry cookies. I
wanted to try those so bad.
There's bowberry cookies.
Yes. I literally bought them and they forgot to give them to me. And I was like, I was going to an event. I work weddings and sweet 16s and stuff with my parents. Cool. And I literally got there and I realized that they didn't put the cookies there. And I'm like, fuck, I can't go back and get them. Like,
listen, go get the cookies and tell them to add some icing. That shit took it over the top. Like, and I'm not even, if somebody even were to give me like a cookie or an apple, I'm gonna take the apple. I just prefer fruit. But that cookie, 10 out of 10. But back to like the whole health and wellness thing. So like I take my health very serious. I try to preach health to my friends and family, just because like, back to the government, they don't give a fuck about you. So like all of the things that are easily accessible, they're not good for you for the most part. It's easy to make, and it's cheap. And unfortunately, with the state of the world, and like we were talking about inflation and the recession at the same damn time, it's kind of like you have to just go after what you can afford. But I watched a TikTok the other day about this lady who was feeding her baby Gerber oats. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, she watched him just rapidly decline. And I think she said in like 2 weeks, like he lost all motor skills. He couldn't hold his head up, couldn't do none of the things. And so she said she saw a TikTok about somebody cursing Gerber out because they put heavy metals in their food. And so she said she decided to start cooking her own oats, making her own fruit purees. Yeah, all of the things. And she said her baby came back in like 3 weeks. Wow. And it was like, basically, he just needed a heavy metal detox. And I said all that to say, it's like, if people don't see videos like that on TikTok, like, you could easily think your child is declining or like on the spectrum. Well, there's nothing wrong with being on the spectrum. But like, you know, just little things like that. And it's really just the government is poisoning your baby. Yeah. And it's just like to come after kids is crazy as hell. I'm not going to lie. Like adults is one thing, but like I think she said her baby was 5 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's like when you see stuff like that and it's like, oh, and then like the ban on Starbucks and Kellogg's, like all of the things that people are like finally coming together to realize, oh, we actually do have the power. And putting dents in these people's pockets, they're like, oh shit, they're catching on. Now we got to take away the platforms because it's just like they're communicating too much. So I am not for the TikTok ban. If you would have asked me this 4 years ago, I've been like, yeah, fuck TikTok ban it. But like, I don't know. And it's funny. I love the TikTok content, but yeah, I'm not for this ban. I think
me either. I like TikTok.
Me too.
Soulja Boy's trying to buy it.
For real?
Soulja Boy.
Soulja Boy can't buy TikTok.
He might.
Well, yeah, they said what somebody has to like
To
buy it.
Yeah.
You know how much money?
It's Soulja Boy.
I'm mad Elon didn't. He got
Right.
Twitter.
Got Twitter, but didn't take TikTok.
Who's gonna? Who is?
But
it?
honestly, it
Who's
wouldn't make a difference because isn't Elon basically working with the government?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think, from my understanding, Elon's just like rich enough to where he can say shit now because like he just owns a lot of stuff and has a lot of money. So like he could just start his own shit. So they're like, all right, I guess we gotta chop it up a little bit.
That's fair.
But I haven't been on Twitter ever since Elon took over it.
Me neither.
Elon, yeah. It got crazy. He really let people do whatever they wanted on there.
I don't get on there much.
I started like actually like seeing actual heads chopped off. And
oh really?
Shit. Like I'm just like, yo, it's Tuesday. It's like it's the middle of the day. Like this is crazy.
Yeah. No, I had a Twitter or X page, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
It was Twitter at the time. Yeah, and it had like a lot of followers, and I was like, I couldn't tweet shit without going viral, and I'm like, okay, I can't take this anymore. Like I just want to speak my fucking mind in peace. And so I made another page, and it's like it's really intimate and like tailored to certain stuff. So I guess I don't really see any of the wild shit. I also get on there maybe like once every fucking month.
The algorithm's different now. You don't even gotta follow it, like because the wild shit gets so much attention.
That shit's gonna pop up on my Twitter now because we're talking about this.
Kind of like that is funny. But how TikTok has like a for you, like you don't gotta follow. Like Twitter kind of started doing that shit.
Yeah,
so it's not even who you follow. Like you don't gotta follow nobody. Your timeline is full.
That's crazy. Yeah, because I don't really see much bullshit on there. It's mostly like music, spirituality shit.
You had a viral Twitter? What happened to your viral Twitter? I didn't know you had a viral Twitter.
You really want to know what happened to it? One day, I made a tweet about a specific sorority on campus because they were just... It was a lot of them. Like, I couldn't keep up. Every day there was a new one on campus. I was confused. I made a tweet and I said, damn, at this point, who isn't a blank? Because I'm not trying to beef with them bitches no more. So I'm not going to fucking say the sorority name on there. I'll tell y'all later. And from there, like, that kind of took my page up because they were like, finally somebody said it. So, and then, like, anytime I made a tweet from there, it was just like, it would fucking blow up. And I'm like, damn, a nigga just wants to speak her mind. Like,
Yeah.
That's funny.
yeah, fuck that specific group of people. They were like, I'm gonna beat your ass. I'll drag you up and down this campus. Blah blah blah. Blah. I'm like, y'all want to get your ass whooped over some Greek letters? That's crazy.
I know,
like
right?
that's crazy.
Like to the death. Like
Yeah, literally.
you
Till
just
death do them
joined
part.
this shit. Like relax. What is?
I will never know.
People want to just be like a part of something.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it's just a part
Oh,
of
yeah.
like human nature. And it's funny because I was listening to Joe Rogan and he was like, I support like if people want to like protest and stuff, but he was like, I don't show up to anywhere where there's a mob of angry people because like we all have like war instilled in us, and like when a bunch of people are angry about something and like they got all that energy, it's like something's bound to go bad.
I'm gonna be real. I did not fuck with Joe Rogan for a little while. He's actually the reason I stopped my Spotify subscription because he was letting people. He was saying the N word. He was saying nigga, and I'm like, hold on.
He did.
Yeah, like multiple times. To be fair, though,
it was about 10 years prior.
That's fair. I didn't know all this. Like I heard that, and that's when I was in like my pro-black phase for like, fuck it if you're gonna like. So yeah. But I heard him say something the other day. I don't even remember what it was. But I was like, oh, he might not be that bad of a guy.
Yeah, I like Joe Rogan. He's been doing his podcast before podcasting was even popular, when the internet was a very different place, and I guess him being a comedian, he was, or maybe not influenced by the best things or whatever.
Fair. He was like in his Dave Chappelle era.
like even before that, like he was doing comedy for a very long time.
Oh, so he's a comedian first.
Yeah.
And I literally only know him as a podcaster.
Yeah, he's a comedian. Like even when he was doing Fear Factor, like
he was on Fear Factor.
He was the host of Fear Factor.
See, y'all, like when I know sometimes I would be sounding like a hypocrite because it's like I'll know stuff about celebrities and then sometimes I'm completely clueless to things. I did not realize that was the same guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know it till like we got together because he listens to a lot of Joe Rogan, and I'm just like, that's the same guy I used to watch that show all the time.
I hated Fear Factor, y'all. The bugs.
Oh yeah,
I couldn't get with it.
But it's kind of like interesting, like as scary as it was, because it's fearful. I would hate to be around. Like some people were literally sitting in a casket with cockroaches, and I'm like,
yes, I couldn't
absolutely
get with it.
not.
I scream in the mic. Sorry.
Yeah,
could not. The tarantulas, all of it.
Yeah, I would not like to do any of that.
Yeah, definitely not. But yeah, I didn't even know he was the host for a minute, and I was like, oh shit, you're right, he has hair. Like,
oh damn.
Yeah,
because he's bald as shit.
He's bald now. Yeah.
He's bald and has a meaty face.
Yeah, he looks like muscular, like a macho man.
But so when I started fucking with him was actually during all this COVID shit. So he was, I guess, a more liberal person.
Okay.
But then like some liberal people started like just wilding out, and then he was more like in the middle, and then because of that, like liberal people were like, nah, if you're not with us, fuck you. And then like it was just like they started calling him right winged and all this, and this was like that transition happened once I started listening a little bit, and then that's when I really realized like, oh, the media is just like saying stuff.
Oh, okay. I was going off the media, so
yeah, like they just say stuff, and like you don't need to back it or whatever, because Joe Rogan's a really interesting dude. He's one of those dudes who's like believes that like everyone should have like their rights and stuff, but he also likes hunting and whatever. So like because he likes hunting, so like he was considered a liberal, but then he's also like, yeah, I like going hunting, and they're like, whoa, that's not that we don't.
You have guns.
Yeah. So it would be stuff like that. Like he was very liberal, but then like he was like, yeah, I think we should still have guns, and then some people were like, yeah, and he's like, whoa.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like he was a walking contradiction.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
my apologies, Joe Rogan. I don't hate you no more.
It sucks for him because like since he's like so established, he'll have like so many people come on a show and he'll just have conversations. He does like 4-hour podcasts with people who know a lot of shit about whatever, and he might say something that's fucking stupid, and they're just gonna.
And then they take that one clip. Yeah, because that's what I saw. I was like, oh, he's racist. Cancel Spot, because I think Spotify wasn't gonna take those shows off the platform or whatever, and I was like, well, I can't give them my money anymore because why would I do that? Yeah. So
now when that happened, I was like, whoa, and then I looked into it, not to say that I even like excuse it, but I was like, okay, this isn't just what that is. Like, it's not what it is at face value per se. Because I'm like, all right, so when I turned 19, I tried to put my right age on Twitter. And it was like, are you sure? And I said, yes, I am sure. And it said, okay, then deleted my shit because it was like, you should not have had this account.
Damn.
And I was like, fuck. But then in retrospect, I'm like, man, the shit I probably said, like like 10 years ago when I was
Saved
younger,
you.
and I'm like, I'm glad I don't have that, because I would look certain words up that I'm like, I shouldn't have used this word, and then I'm like, then I started thinking about like my fucking 13-year-old brain, and I'm like, I know I probably just spelled it with mad letters, and like now I can't find it because I spelled it in a different way to like. No one typed correctly back in the
Yeah,
day.
we were using like at signs and exclamation points.
Yeah,
Like,
so anytime someone's done something, like I look at like if you did something 10 years ago, depending on what it is and how you respond about it now,
Right.
like if you're like, no, I stand by that shit, and I'm like, nah, that sucks. But if you're like, nah, I don't know why, I hated that I did that, and I wish this shit never came
that goes back
Right.
to what I was talking about earlier when I was like, I did a lot of things that I just like, I couldn't even stomach doing them now. It was like, damn, like you're supposed to grow as a human. And I feel like, when you're young and impressionable, you don't necessarily think about the consequences of certain
Right.
shit. I did not think about the consequences of a lot of things I was doing or saying. And now that I'm aware and just more mindful and like, I feel like I've calmed down a lot. Like I used to be a hothead. I was a bitch. I'm still a bitch, but like not
really.
not
I
uncalled
feel like
for.
I've never gotten that from
Really,
you.
thanks. Because a lot of people from like Cabarrus County, that's what they think of me. They're like, oh yeah, you were mean and blah, 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 blah. But we were also surrounded by a bunch of white people who didn't necessarily understand black people. So I don't think that helped.
Okay, maybe the white people thought you were mean.
Yeah.
I could see that. Now that I think about it, I'm like, oh, okay, I can see that. I feel like I saw you say some shit, but I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, so it's like the more aware I became, and I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that, or like little things like that. So it's just part of growth.
You start feeling bad for the Caucasoids.
Not really. Respectfully, it's like I want to love white people so bad, but then they do dumb shit. Like they just do stupid shit, and I'm like, wow, you make it really hard to think that y'all aren't all horrible people.
But to be fair, almost all people do stupid shit.
Yes,
agreed.
Sometimes they just happen to be white, because I feel like that's how some white people feel about like black people.
Absolutely.
Like they're just like, oh, he did this and he was black. Then it's like,
but I think it's like it's worse because they're the oppressors, so it's just like they already have that cloud of like negative energy upon them, at least in my eyes. And I really hate that. I really wish I could like be more free in that aspect, but it's hard because it's like I'm black every day, so it's just like you say something, it's like, damn, I can probably never trust you the way I trusted you before, because it's like, is that what you really think all the time? Like little things like that, so it just throws me off.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that, and I feel like I definitely live my life a type of way, especially being a black person. One thing I do a lot as a black person, or don't do, is just like I feel like black people are so cool and like so like influential that like I just try to be mindful of shit I do, like even like
sorry y'all.
Yeah, you're all good, you're good. Even like saying nigga in my songs and shit like that, like I used to do it a lot more than I do now, because I'm like, because I would do it because it just rolled off the tongue and sounds so good. And then like I just started realizing like I don't want my homies singing that shit. And then like I started taking more responsibility of like looking at it like, not even like, I used to be like, man, you should just not do it, like blah blah blah, but now I look at it like these motherfuckers look up to me and they're not really looking at it this way. They just think I'm cool,
influential.
Yeah, they're appreciating the art.
And then I started thinking about even like younger kids now, like when I'm looking at even younger kids and I'm like, yeah, like this shit is really weird. And then I started thinking about like the fact that, well, that's just what's normal.
Yeah.
And then it kind of brings me back to like, you realize like the shit that's not always the best for people is what's normal. Not to say that I don't use it, say it anymore in my songs. There's some songs that I'm like, this part of the song just wasn't for anybody, everybody, but I'm more intentional about what I'm saying and why I'm saying it.
It's important to be intentional. Like that's one thing I'm realizing, like when Solange said do nothing without intention, I used to hear it and I was like, yeah, whatever. And it was like, it sound good. But then like I realized like you literally have to be intentional about everything. Everything. And it's like when you're not, I guess that's when you can get sucked into two different energies. It's like you can be in the love energy or you can be in fear. And it's just like, where are you gonna go from there?
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like intentional living is hard.
It is. Like I don't think anything about either being intentional or trying to be more Christ-like or trying to be like just a better person in general, like that's just not easy. Like, in order to be a better person, you have to be willing to look in the mirror and be like, I am not doing good in this area, and I really need to fix that.
Yeah, and it's like sacrifice.
Yeah, 100% sacrifice, willingness to change, which everybody is like, afraid to do.
Yeah.
Like, change can be scary, but like, it's necessary at the end of the day.
Do y'all read books?
A little bit.
Kinda.
Okay.
More audio
I can't get
books.
with audiobooks. I'm an old school girl at heart. Like I don't online shop. I don't do any of the things. Like I need to go in the store and pick up stuff. But like books, I need to hold it and read it and flip the pages.
I feel that.
But there's a book called Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. And in the book she talks about like basically she creates a cult, but it's not about the cult. In her cult she says that God is change, and that like it really stuck with me. And I'm like, wow, like if we think about it, God is change. Like to be God-like, you have to consistently change. Like God is the same, but God also changes. And so I definitely think that's a great book y'all should check out. It's based in like 2024 and is talking about like how America has become a dystopian country, and like there's squatters and like people are getting robbed and all the things. It's basically happening now, but like not as deserted, I guess you could say. It's a really good book.
What's the name of it?
Parable of the Sower.
Parable
And it's
of
about
the Sower.
you know how in the Bible God had given, or not God, sorry, damn, I'm about to fuck this story up, sorry y'all. The dad had given all of the boys certain gifts, and he was like, you need to sow these and like have a return on your investment, pretty much. It's in Matthew, I don't remember. It was 3 brothers, and one brother, like he went and he flipped that shit. Another brother flipped that shit, and then another brother, he buried what he had, and like he didn't flip it. And then the dad was mad and was like, "Yeah, y'all heard that one?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea.
It's okay. Sorry, I did not tell it well at all."
It was like basically gave it to them to invest, and what was the like point of it? Like you ain't even like try.
Like you took what I gave you and you hid it instead of actually going out and doing something with it and spreading it out.
He was so afraid of losing it, he just held
hid it.
on to it, and then just gave the exact same thing back.
Yeah,
Interesting.
because the dad was like, "Okay, what did y'all do with what I gave you?" And so one of the brothers, I think he like multiplied it times 10. Another one might have been like times 3, and then the one did nothing.
They told us about that when we heard about it in church actually a few weeks ago when they were talking about tithing. Because I think one of them I think they actually tithed their money, and then
I'm gonna be real, I
could
can't
be.
quote it completely and utterly, but
yeah, me either. But
It's
I
based
think
off
that's
of
one
that.
of those.
Yeah. I
So
get the
her
concept.
book is based off of that.
yeah.
Okay.
So to an extent, like not completely, but she talks about how her dad was a pastor and like she appreciated the Christian religion, but she couldn't necessarily follow everything that was being told because she didn't see God as like basically kind of like what I was saying earlier. And it was funny because when I read the book, I'm like, wow, I see a lot of myself in this book. I would not start a cult, but
You'd
like
be a good cult leader.
I don't want a cult. It's crazy because like when my Twitter went viral, one of my friends at the time, she was like, "Oh my God, you're like a cult leader. Look at all your followers." I'm like, please shut the fuck up. I don't want to, I don't know. Cult feels like a heavy word. I don't like it.
It is crazy.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't want a cult. I want to say that again because I plan on having like a community center. We can talk about that if y'all want. But like, I don't want it to be cult like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she talks about like how she just couldn't get with it, and so she created her own image of God, and that's when she realized that God was change, and like God is also chaos, but God is peace, God is all of these things, and it's like we try to shape God, but since God is change, you have to mold God like clay. It was a really good book. I'm not gonna lie, I read it in like 3 days. I would sit on the train and I would read the fuck out of that book.
Love that. See, that makes sense because you get to sit on the train.
I love it. Like, oh my God, that's my favorite place to read.
Aw.
Sometimes I get on the train just to read.
Yeah, that's
Oh
cool.
wow. This
I feel like
train
I
as in like the
drive, so-
subway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They call it the train up there.
I'd be like.
I called it the subway, and they were like, "You mean the train?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah. The C
I
train,
could
the
not
D
be
train, the
I got
F
the
on-
train.
3. The 3 is my girl.
3 train.
From in public transportation, my head's on a swivel.
Oh.
I could not be
Oh,
reading a
yeah.
book.
Definitely. I'm not like so deep in the book where it's like I'm clueless, but I put on my beats, to scope my little scene. I try to sit and like they have like when you first get through the doors, 2 seats where it's just like those 2 seats. I try to sit there and then turn like this so nobody can sit with me, and then from there I'm scoping the scene all the time because the train is a crazy place,
Oh yeah,
bro.
100%.
My first day out there, it was no second day. This man got on the train after he shitted on himself. y'all. And so like at first he was on a walker and people were helping him, like, oh, maybe people up north are kind, right? And then this stanky motherfucker gets on here and like I see the shit stain down his pants. And he was like, I know it stinks. I know it stinks. And it's like I felt bad for him.
He was screaming that?
Right hand to God, that motherfucker was screaming, I know it stinks, with the shit stain on his booty. And like it was funny because like me and everybody else on the train, we were trying not to make eye contact with each other because we were laughing. But like I said, I felt bad because he was probably homeless and like didn't really have much of an option. But like to announce it, we could have all just sat here in peace and let you be shitty booty. But like he kept saying it, y'all. Like it was,
I know it stinks.
just like that. Actually, I was like, oh my God, no way.
Yeah, people are crazy.
That
out
shit
there.
smells so bad.
Yeah.
I've seen a man smoke crack on the train. I'm like, where am I?
New York. That's where you are.
Literally.
You'll see absolutely everything and anything
Because
under
I was
the
like, what's
sun.
that smell? And then I saw other people getting off. I'm like, okay, maybe I should get off too. And then I realized he was smoking crack.
Mm-hmm.
I've
a
never
different world.
seen anybody smoke crack.
What's that
before.
smell?
You know, because it smelled crazy.
What did crack smell like?
Not good. I don't really know how to explain it. It's very distinctive now, but like at the time, I genuinely didn't know what the fuck it was. It's not like weed. I'll tell you that damn much. It's not like weed. Like he's dead ass on the train, just sparking up,
Smoking crack.
That is crazy.
On
crazy
Twitter,
place.
I saw someone like this girl smoking meth. Like, you know how like there's like stoner girls, they be like she was doing that, but with meth.
That's crazy. Like she rolled it.
No.
Oh,
She had
okay.
it in her little pipe.
That's crazy.
Nah, yeah, it was fucking nuts.
That's just as bad as the crack.
Yeah, if not worse.
Yeah, probably.
I didn't want secondhand crack smoke.
No,
True.
you gotta get off.
Yeah, I had to, like, bro, I don't play those games anymore. Like, if I actually got on the train not too long ago, somebody else shit it. And I'm like, people were dead ass just sitting in the smell. I'm like, I don't know how y'all did it. That next stop, I got the fuck off and went into the next cart. I can't do a lot of the shit no more. Like, I used to just be like, well, I'm on the... Fuck that. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, go to the next cart.
Yeah, that's why
Get out of there.
I've always said like I would live in New York for like 6 months max.
I wish I could only do 6 months. Like, I love New York. It's definitely been an awesome experience living there, but I know it's not for me long term. I'm too earthy. I need to be outside barefoot. I will never step foot outside barefoot.
Absolutely not.
But I saw these people walking barefoot. Their feet were as black as your coat.
Ew.
That shit was disgusting. And it was like in an industrial area.
Ew, I wouldn't even step outside barefoot in a hallway that
I don't
my
do
grandma
shit
lives in.
barefoot in New York. Like, I'm
Absolutely
lying. I'll
not.
go to the park. I will take my shoes and socks
Well,
off.
if you're like in like the sprinklers or something, like you know how the parks be having like the little sprinklers for like the
Not yet. I
kids?
haven't been there in summertime yet. I moved in September. Yeah, everybody's like, you got to go to New York in the summertime or experience New York in the summertime.
Girl, the
I'm
beaches are
excited.
dirty as fuck.
I'm not getting in that water.
Yeah, dirty as fuck. There's so many people there.
Actually, I might because I have a friend. We're in acupuncture school together, and he surfs out there. And he was like, "Well, I'll give you lessons." So
They surf in New York?
that's what I said. But yeah, they surf.
Wow,
I didn't think so. Yeah, they surf.
wild.
He was surfing in the wintertime. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that, pal. Catch me in the summer.
It's that
See
suit.
white.
Yes.
It's always the white.
He's cool.
people.
Yeah, it is.
You
He's
got
cool
that
though.
shit.
No, I got a lot of white friends.
I
They-
have
they're on
a
the
lot more
podcast.
than I did. I'll never forget. I really went through a phase where I wasn't really fucking with white people because, like, Coxville. You remember when the principal or the assistant principal was like, "What do black people and trees have in common? I mean, and apples have in common?" And he was like, "They both hang from trees."
You said that? No
What
way.
the heck?
Yeah. So it's like, I was a little indifferent. And then I moved to Texas and I worked at a bakery. And I had made these white friends. I love them to death. And one of them, she was in the office crying one day. She was like, "My life feels so worthless," and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I'm not gonna say her name. I'm like, "Girl, do you realize you're the reason I like white people again? You have so much to live for." And so, like, I will say there in the Black psychology class that I talked about, we learned about like different levels of like acceptance as a black person, and like there's the radical acceptance where it's like you're super pro-black, and then there's like the final level is like where you're just open to all people, and it's like you're not necessarily 100% Dr. Umar all the time. And so I feel like living in Texas did help me reach that level of my awareness, because like I said, like they really did make me appreciate white people again, because they're not all bad.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them are nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Decent.
people like that principal or teacher or whatever that just make it bad for
Fuck
everybody.
that guy.
But we don't want to stereotype all white people
no,
and group
not
in
at
the
all.
same category
Because we don't want to be stereotyped.
Yeah,
right,
I was about to
exactly,
say.
exactly.
When I said like some of them are good, I mean that about like any
Every single
ethnicity.
person
Like
ever.
most of them are probably on some bullshit.
99%
But, like,
of the time.
Right.
some of them will be good. Some
Right.
people in general, some
Like
humans.
yesterday, before I got my hair done, I had a bonnet on my head because I had to go buy the braiding hair, and I was like, "Oh my god, they're gonna think I'm so super duper ghetto and all these things." And it's like it's crazy how we let stereotypes like really define our lives. And so I had put my hood on, and this older black lady was like, "You're beautiful regardless, girl. Take your hood off." And I wanted to, but I just couldn't because it's just like that's just not me. And it's like you see people on social media talking about like, "Why would the fuck would you walk out of the house here bonnet nothing and that's good?" And it's like I just gotta protect the fro,
Right.
like,
Same reason you walk outside in your pajamas. Like,
literally. But I'll do that too. Actually, I did walk out of my pajamas. Like it was bad. I had on the Crocs, the pajamas, the white beater. Like it was just not good.
yeah,
It'd be
you-
like that.
Yeah,
It'd be like that.
I did not set myself up for success, but I knew I was about to be sitting in that chair for a minute, so
Right.
I wanted to be comfortable.
Right.
What are your thoughts on stereotypes overall? The reason I ask is because like
good question.
I think stereotypes aren't good.
Not at all.
But sometimes I'm like, damn, them shits be holding true. Like, you know, for example,
Yeah.
Well, that's why
like,
there's stereotypes.
Exactly.
like people be like, oh, black people are either like guys are like, oh, well, you play sports, you make music, you a rapper, and I'd be like, yeah, I do, and I'm just like, oh man,
I get stereotyped a lot in terms of like people think I played basketball.
Because you're tall.
Yeah, I'm like, y'all, no, I ran track. I was not.
well, that's
a
like the second guess.
Yeah, literally. But like, even other black people, like they'll stereotype you. So it's
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
we had this acupuncture program during Black History Month. Literally the last day of a Black Day. Fuck. Sorry, I had to just take a deep breath. The last day of Black History Month, they decided to host something for the Negroes, and so they had this black acupuncturist come and he was talking to us, and I was like, okay, cool. Like when it was over, I was like, well, let me take a picture with him because you know you're a black guy, you're an acupuncturist, you're doing good things in New York. And I walk in, stand beside him, he was like, you must have played basketball.
Man.
Like I have a picture of my face because I like keeping my camera on live. Like I just feel like live catches the whole vibe of the photo. And I looked at him like this, and I'm like, I ran track. And so after our picture, he walked up to me. He was like, I really apologize. I didn't mean to offend you. And I'm like, it's okay. And like I get it all the time, but like I feel like sometimes stereotypes are necessary for protection, though. Like because
educated guess.
yeah, like I wouldn't go to a fucking sundown town and expect to like be able to be there all day because like it's a stereotype about sundown towns and like not being safe there. But at the same time, it sucks because you don't really allow people to introduce themselves as who they are.
Exactly.
And it's like, I don't know. You can always build a barrier after you allow that shit to come down. It's like, oh, now I know I can't really fuck with you in the way that I intended to.
I feel like the issue's kind of like what we were talking about earlier, what you said about like, you know, the energy, like your mindset, your perspective. I feel like a lot of times our brains are going to look for evidence of what we believe in. So that is the kind of like why I try to like figure out like how do I feel about like stereotypes, you know what I mean? Because like I could give someone like a clean slate, in which I feel like I try to, but I know that sometimes there's something in the back of my head where anything little might make me like
Could trigger
be
you.
like, yeah, nah, maybe I'm right, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, then it's kind of like, all right, is this a gut feeling, or am I just being judgmental? And it's like trying to gauge that and find the balance, you know, because like you said, you gotta be smart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if it looks like a snake, I'm not gonna like just wait for it to
might
bite
be a
me.
lizard.
Right. I have some legs.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
like,
not poisonous.
It's not slithering.
Yeah.
That's funny. But nah, yeah, so what do you think? What are your thoughts on stereotypes?
I agree with you. Like, I think, you know, stereotypes are obviously stereotypes because like enough people do a certain thing. So like I guess it makes sense, but also like you should always be, I guess, not judging a book by its cover, you know, be open to like really learning a person. And then if you see like red flags or something, you don't have to fuck with that person. But that doesn't mean that everybody's like that either. So like, you know, they're like, for example, there are some white people who are just fucking racist, and there are other white people who are not. Like, some white people might be the oppressor, and some of them might be like, I literally accept you for who you are. I do not care like what skin color you are, how your hair looks, what your eye color is. Like, we are all people. We all bleed the same. And like, you know, I think, yeah, like, just give people a chance. Like, you know, it kind of makes me think of I remember watching, I don't know who the comedian was, but he was a black comedian, and he was talking about how he ordered an Uber one day, and he got in the Uber, and the girl like saw him and like got scared. She was like, oh my god. Or he didn't get in the Uber, he like opened the door, and she was like, oh my god, and like drove away. And
she had to come back around.
She came back around and was like, I'm so sorry. And he was like, it's all right. And then he like was talking about rating her, and he was like, yeah, I gave her what, 3 out of 5 stars.
He was talking about before you said that, he was talking about how he got in the car with her, and she was like, yeah, I'm not, you know, you don't know who's getting in your car around this area. And she was like, he tried to make her even.
It's like, I literally have a picture for you to see who you're picking up.
And then he was like, she tried to make him feel a little more comfortable because she had on like pop music. Then she changed it to like hip hop.
That happened to me in Indiana. The Uber driver did that, and he was like, y'all like basketball.
Oh my
it's like,
God.
why is that always the stereotype?
But he said it worked. Well,
that's
he said it made him feel a little better.
So he gave her 3 stars.
But no, go ahead.
Yeah, he gave her 3 stars. One because of that situation, and then another one because she was a black woman. And I was like, what? No way.
So a black woman did that to a black man.
Yes.
It's crazy how we stereotype. Like, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I stereotype certain black men. I'm like, oh. But it's like, you also, if you present yourself as something, what am I gonna think? Like, I had a dude follow me on Instagram yesterday, and he sells lean and all the things. Why the fuck would I want to follow you back? I have holistic hottie in my bio. I have like, I don't condone that kind of shit. So it's like, I had to stereotype him as a stupid motherfucker. But it's like, why would
which
you
could
that?
be any race to be a stupid motherfucker.
Okay,
like,
race, creed,
plenty
color
of Hispanics, plenty of white people, plenty of black people, plenty of Asian people who all do the same thing.
You said that, and now I'm like, I wonder if it's like, it's not even like stereotyping somebody, like, you know, where it's like, not like, all right, say someone's on some headassery, whatever race they are, and like they just happen to be a race, and now you're like, am I stereotyping them?
That's true.
Or like,
it's like,
because
or are you
I
just an
see
idiot?
them and like they look like this, but they also happen to be white, black, brown, whatever, while looking like this. No, that does make sense. One thing, I don't think that it's right at all, and I hate that it's a stereotype. But it's so, I don't know, the Asian women driving thing. I've seen it a lot, and I'm just like, that's crazy. It's different, but also they drive different in Asia. Like the roads are different.
They drive different in New York. Oh my god! I was like, I'm driving in 12 different foreign countries.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. You gotta be quick thinking in New York.
I can't be smoking weed and driving in New York.
That was the problem.
Yeah, you gotta real focus.
Yeah,
getting anxious and shit.
Yeah.
Yep, because everybody's in a rush, so
literally,
it's just like move, get in quick and go.
That's
like,
honestly part of the reason why I came down here for this break, because I realized, like, when New Yorkers are in a rush, they're angry, like they have a lot to be mad about. I'm not gonna lie, like
it smells like piss.
It's expensive.
It's
like,
small as fuck.
Yeah, it's
so
like
many
you have
people.
a lot to be mad about, but at the same time,
be nice.
And it's been raining for like 3 weeks, so it's just like, you know, all of that takes a toll on you. But I'm like, this is not how it's supposed to be. I was cussing people out crazy behind the wheel for little shit. Like, they were, first of all, honking the horn at me and light's been green all of 2 milliseconds really pisses me the fuck off. Because, like, damn, can I translate my foot from the gas? I mean, the brake to the gas. So it's just like little shit like that. But then I just realized, like, one, a lot of people have substance abuse problems in New York. Like, I realized that, like, they just turned to alcohol or like anything. And in Chinese medicine, we learned about the liver. And the liver is in charge of anger, but it's affected from recreational drug use and things like that. And so it's like, if you're constantly consuming these products, you can't actually be living a full life in terms of holistic wellness, because it's just like, you're not even allowing your liver to
take a break.
Yeah, and the liver has so many functions in the body, but it, most importantly, it stores your blood. So it's like, if you're not having proper healthy blood throughout your body, you're bound to be an angry motherfucker. And so in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, the liver is in charge of anger. That's its emotion. And so like from living there, I realized like a lot of people are just angry. And it's like, you're not tending to your liver. You need to detox. And like, it's not even only drug use, like your diet, like little things like that really play a role into your health. And I think a lot of people just don't understand it because we're not taught it. And like, it shows in the people. So I needed a break. That's why I came.
For sure.
Yeah, I was like, I can't. Because if another motherfucker honks at me, I'm going to lose my shit.
That's like another reason why like people always ask me like, oh, do you like New York or do you like North Carolina? Because like, you know, I guess I'm from there, but like I kind of grew up here. Like I moved here the day after I turned 10, but like my
So
family's still there
in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we used to go back every single year, like all the time. Like now that I'm older, like I haven't gone back in like a couple years since we went like 3 years ago. But like all my family still lives there. So like everybody that is in my family are all still mainly New Yorkers. And I'm like, every time I go up there, I'm like, bro, everybody's fucking angry. Like one thing I do like about the South is just like, you know, even if people like are angry and don't fuck with you, they'll just be like, have a blessed day.
Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna take it out on you.
Right.
Like I'll hear people cussing people the fuck out on the phone. I'm like, yo,
like
just relax.
Like, be nice. Like why can't you
Please
just be kind?
But what's crazy is, so I was supposed to come down here like last Monday, but it was sunny, and I'm like, oh my god, let me actually like enjoy the sun. And so on those 2 days, it was sunny Monday and Tuesday, so I didn't leave. Wednesday it rained. I got the fuck ASAP. But the people were so nice. I'm like, wow. Like I was getting compliments. People were like, have a great day. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so
wow,
y'all
never.
can be nice. It could also just be like, I don't know, the energy. Who knows? But it's like y'all can be nice, but it's just like overall, y'all are really angry. I want to give all the New Yorkers a hug.
They'll probably be even more angry that you gave them a hug. They're like, why the fuck are you touching me?
And I'm like, because you need some fucking love.
Yeah, right.
Last time we were in New York, I felt like people were nice.
We were in Central Park.
Yeah,
let's make that
they're nice.
Very clear.
We were in fucking Manhattan / Harlem-ish. You weren't even really.
We weren't even near Harlem. Yeah, like we're in Central Park. We're near Times Square. Like we're not that.
That's not the same.
Yeah.
You were in the touristy parts.
Yeah,
you gotta get in them trenches.
Yeah. I'm not trying to go to the trenches.
I'm gonna be real though. It's the best food. Like. So, although I have my car in New York, I still do a lot of walking. Like, I only take my car when it's absolutely necessary. So, I ride the train and I walk. And I think people in New York just have a hard time trusting each other. And 100%. So, that just translates to everybody. Like, they just stereotype everybody as untrustworthy.
Right. Yeah.
And so, it's kind of just like, I don't know. People can instantly tell I'm not from New York. Like, oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, I'll talk to them and they'll be like, oh, where are you from? And I'm like, damn. Like, I try to be like a chameleon because I don't want to stick out like a sore thumb. Yeah. But one, the accent gives it away for sure. And then I'm just like, I smile at people. I do like.
That is not a New York thing.
Not at all. I'm like, oh shit. So yeah, it's like,
she's not from here.
Yeah. No, for real.
Like it's serious. Somebody thought I was from Louisiana. I'm like, all right, I'm not that country. Like
That's
Louisiana
funny.
was crazy.
That's funny. Yeah, I am. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that one time I went to New York with one of my friends and their friends. We went to a music festival up there, and we stayed with my grandparents. And literally, like one of the first things I said to her was, "Do not talk to people on the subway. Don't talk to anybody.
Oh, yeah, no.
Honestly, don't tell anybody your business because if they know that you're not from here, they're going to take advantage of you." What does she do? Starts talking to people on the subway. I'm like, girl. Like, can you just have a mad face on, walk really quickly, and act like you are from here?
Just like, on the train every day.
Yeah, no, for real.
I mastered it. And that's like I already had an RBF, but that shit has gotten 10 times better.
Yeah, like I feel like that's what I have to do when I go to New York. Like, you know, when I'm here, like I'm just like, hi.
You can chill. Like you don't have to be on guard.
Right. But New York, there's so many people. Like you said, there's people doing crack on the subway. Like you never know who anybody is.
Literally.
Like, so like I guess it makes sense why they're on guard and why they always have like a resting bitch face on, because you don't want nobody to fuck with you. You don't know like what type of shit they're on.
That's why I'm like, I would not want to live there.
Right.
Like, I'm
trying to do my 3 years and get out.
3 years is too much, man. I was
master's program
where I was born. I was born in the hood, Patterson, New Jersey. It's like that over there. And people be like, "Oh, what do you like better?" And I'm just like, "What do you mean? Like, what do you mean?"
It's like the obvious
do I want
answer.
to live in the hood, or
Like,
do I want to
I remember
live here?
just like even like and I feel like it's really like shaped my life, you know, especially like growing up, like that being like the like first place I moved to, and then realizing the rest of the world is different, you know. Like just even like my mom would always be so like, she would like, even when I was a kid, like be very particular about like what I wore, like what colors I was wearing, where
Yeah,
we were
because
going,
gang
blah, blah, blah.
activity and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, I just like the color blue. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I'm not
not
a
even
crap.
that deep.
Right.
Like, and I like the color red too. Like, and it's just like I wouldn't want to be in a place where I gotta like think about shit like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it does suck though, because I feel like a lot of times like that's just what happens when people don't have money.
Yeah.
They're in survival mode.
Yeah.
And you gotta do what you gotta do. And it's just like, man, it's very stressful. But I know that I'm definitely trying to be in a place where like money's not something I think about. But it's also sad because I realize that there's a lot of people who like mentally are broke and like they can't get themselves
Broke is a
out of
mindset.
that. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, it's just tough like seeing people like just stuck there,
Yeah.
not thinking that there's anything else there. Like even like some family that we have in New York, New Jersey, where it's just like, I feel like they're afraid to leave. Like they can't think of
don't know
anything
anything
outside.
else.
Right.
And it's just like, bro, what? Like,
I'm living in the hood for the first time ever in my life.
how you go from the suburbs to the hood? That's
Because it's
different.
fucking New York. And
Yep.
it's like you got to get in where you fit in. The housing
Right.
market, like how y'all have like a complex you can live in here. No, there's not really like apartment complexes. And if they are, you need to be making 60 times the rent. The rent's $3,000. I'm not making six figures yet. I'm barely making two. So it's just like, yeah, you got to get in where you fit in. And so it's like, there's local J's, J's for junkies. And like, I'll see them and they ask me for $1 or like money all the time. And I'm like, wow, like I've never really had to deal with this. And it's like, it's weird and it sucks because it's just like, y'all don't have to live like this. Like you were saying, like there's so much for you in the world. And I'm ready to get out of the hood. I will say that I'm not built like that. I mean, I'm built like that. Don't ever try me. But like, I'm not. It's not me.
It's not good for your mentality.
Not at
Yeah.
all.
Like even just being in that like on go like mindset. It's just like, yo, relax. Like
I watched a dude. I worked at a juice shop down the street from my crib, and I watched a dude get robbed at knife point, literally like outside of the doors. And I was paranoid for weeks, because I'm just like, well, what if that happens to me and I have this on me and this, that, and like it was just like, it's no way to live being constantly in paranoid mode. And like,
For sure.
yeah, I'm reading Be Like Water, My Friend by Bruce Lee's daughter, Shannon Lee. It's pretty good so far. I'm only on page 4, but I'm enjoying it. And she talks about how her dad said, don't be tense, but be ready. And so like,
that's a bar.
yeah, I felt like I was carrying a lot of tension in my body.
Yeah.
Which I did acupuncture to help with, like for a couple weeks. I got to get free acupuncture, which is one of the pluses of being a student. But when I read that, I was like, I read that yesterday, Earth Day. I was reading it in the park. And I'm like, wow, that makes a lot of sense because I carry a lot of tension in my body, even though like I do yoga and like I'm aware, like I feel like trauma can really just manifest in ways that we don't necessarily realize. Like my jaws, I constantly have tight jaws.
Yeah.
Or like, and your jaws and your hips are related. And so my hips are really tight too. Yeah. And so like, or even my shoulders, like sometimes I'll just be like this and I'm like, girl, you can relax.
Right,
like you're
right.
long, act long. Like stop shrinking yourself.
Yeah.
Act long. I'm gonna start telling myself that. Like, yo, height's a mindset.
Yeah. I wish.
Stop shrinking yourself.
No, but heavy on the stop shrinking. I realized I shrink myself a lot, and it came from like a lack of confidence. It came from not really trusting myself. It came from trauma. Like I would literally make myself shorter than I had to be just to be comfortable around other people, and like not only in a physical sense, but even like my energy. Like my dad keeps telling me I have big energy, and I don't agree. Like I feel like I'm a really chill person, but like I guess my energy can be overpowering sometimes because it's just like I am actually realizing who I am and how powerful I am. So it's like when I come into a space, I can command energy. Like I made the dog jump over the gate. It's just
You
like,
did.
yeah, and it's like I don't really do anything to do stuff like that. And so I think that started to happen for me, like not shrinking myself anymore. Like realizing like it's okay to be confident.
Yeah.
It's okay to be these things. But I also had to realize like my lack of confidence was coming from a lot of stories people were telling me about myself that I had to realize weren't true.
So you're learning to unlearn.
Unlearning to relearn.
Unlearning to relearn.
Yeah, because, like, so junior year of college, I was super duper depressed. Like, depressed as fuck. My mom just moved to Texas. My friends, like, I had a friend, we were cool since 5th grade. We weren't cool anymore. Went to the same school, lived in the same house, everything. It was really fucking weird.
Lived in the same house?
Yeah, because we went to college together. So, like, we had a 4-bedroom townhome. So, it was, like, her and 2 other people and then myself. And then, like, they all started acting weird towards me. And they started calling me a witch on campus because, like, I was burning sage and doing, like, yeah. So, it was, like, junior year was just a hard fucking year. And that's when I found yoga. And so, I got into yoga pretty consistently, and then I realized, okay, if I feel like this and it's helping me, like, I really think yoga saved my life. Like, I was in a fucking dark place. And I was going to church and all the things, but it just wasn't enough. I feel like I needed, like, a physical practice to tie in with my spiritual. Like, I had the mental and I had the spiritual, but, like, stagnant energy can get stuck in the body if you're not moving it. So it's like I wasn't doing anything to, like, actually move and transmute the energy that was just stuck in my body. So I got into yoga, and then I realized other people probably feel like this. So I signed up for yoga teacher training, and that's when, like, this whole unlearning to relearn process happened. Like, that's when the music thing changed for me. My diet changed. The people I was hanging around changed. The things I was doing, like, everything just fucking changed. And in that I was like, oh wow, like, a lot of people don't realize that we just do things out of comfort and, like, out of repetition. Like, it's not necessarily because we even enjoy doing them. We're just so used to it that we don't necessarily understand that there's other options.
Right.
Ooh, my bad. And so that's when my whole, like, unlearning to relearn process happened. And then, like, that's when I don't want to say my relationship with God, like, changed, but it was tested in a sense. Because I'm like, why the fuck do I feel this low? Like, I've been through a lot of traumatic experiences in my life. I don't really wear it, like, because it's like, they weren't necessarily physical. It was more so, like, emotional and mental things that happened, but, like, they really took a toll on me. And I didn't realize it until I started learning to relearn. I'm like, oh wow, like, these things really played a role in how I am today and, like, the person that I show up as. And if I don't change these habits, I'm just going to continue to show up as this person and, like, hurt those who were close to me and think that I'm just doing it because, like, I'm being, I don't know, just doing it to fucking do it pretty much. And so, like, the more that I recognize that within myself, the more I realize shifts just happening. Like, and it would happen like clockwork almost. And so, yeah, unlearning to relearn, it helped me realize that change is okay, growth is okay. Like, you don't have to stay stuck in a cycle.
For sure.
There's a song by Jonathan Reynolds, and it's called Cycles, and it's about, like, how the devil will try to keep you in cycles because, like, in these cycles, the devil knows what you're going to do. It's like he can almost play you in this game of chess and know what your next move is going to be, so you can't beat him. So it's like when you start breaking these cycles, it's like, oh, I've tricked you. Like, you got to trick your ego in order to, like, get uncomfortable and grow and shift and, like, maneuver.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's even, like, I guess ties back into, like, tricking your mind to, like, be more positive or, like, just speaking more positive things. Like, your mind is just so powerful. So, like, you know, sometimes you might have to trick it just to, like, get it to be where you need it to be. Like, you know, like, even if you're not feeling the best, like, just speaking more positive things, like, you're tricking your mind into feeling more powerful, more positive, and, like,
Yeah.
that can help.
I realized, like, one thing that was really fucking with my mind that I would have never guessed was my diet. They say your gut is your second brain. And so, like, I wouldn't say, I've never been a huge meat eater, but, like, I ate meat. And I was eating beef and pork at the time. And so, like, I realized once I started cutting out certain meats, like, I don't know, I just felt lighter. Like, I didn't feel this dense heaviness to myself. Like, I felt like a feather almost. Like, I could just float. And, like, that, I think going plant-based, I was vegan for a long time. Like I would be like, oh, I'm vegan. Now I just say I'm plant-based because like I'm gonna eat some chicken and fish sometimes. But like overall, I try to follow a plant-based diet because I know how much it helped me mentally. It also, like, my skin was fucking bad, and it's still bad. It's getting better, but like it was bad. And like I realized my skin changed because your gut health affects your face. Like it's crazy how our diets can really like play a major role. And then even with like the whole pre-diabetic thing and like little things like that, I'm like, wow, like we don't realize like what we're putting in our body, it will manifest in more than just like digestion.
You are
For
what
sure.
you eat, like in so
Literally.
many
100%.
different ways.
Literally.
It's funny because we were talking about Joe Rogan. Shout out Joe. I became a fan of Miley Cyrus because of her episode on the Joe Rogan podcast. And she talked about how she eats for her brain. And she talked about, like, you know, the stuff she does. Like, you know, she would eat, like, if she ate like regular people, she couldn't do that with her kind of schedule, with like, you know, even just the endorphins from like performing shows like that and all that stuff. Like she has to eat and make sure she's doing the right stuff for that. So she went to like a brain specialist who was like really like looking at her brain activity and being like, hey, are you eating this? And she's like, no, you know, we grew up eating Hot Pockets and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then that completely changed her life. She actually stopped smoking too, Miley Cyrus. I don't know if you guys knew when she was a big pothead.
Yeah, I
but,
do.
like,
I remember that phase.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg was like,
That
yo,
was, like, her
this shit
hip-hop
could
phase.
smoke. Yeah. And she said she even stopped smoking for just like her like brain reasons and shit. But yeah, she started eating right because she said, like, you know, being like young child star, growing up like that, all that stuff just had such long lasting effects on
Yeah,
her
I can see
brain.
that.
And the only thing that really like made a big difference is when she changed her diet.
Your gut is your second brain.
For sure.
So, you know, obviously you're very knowledgeable about all this stuff. Is this the base of your business?
Yeah, so when I was going through this major depression junior year, I was honestly, I had a whole bunch of music posters just around my room. Like I had a Biggie Smalls poster, Tupac, Mac Miller, Tyler the Creator. Like I had just the people I like to listen to. Honestly, I can't even say that I was listening to them anymore because, like I said, my ear changed for certain sounds. So I was trying to just keep myself in a peaceful mind. But I was staring at the poster, and I wanted to create a clothing line at first. And I was like, what am I going to call it? What am I going to call it? And I was looking at the Biggie Smalls poster, and I had put like, I had a fucking hat, and I was putting it over the poster head. I was like, oh, that'd be a cool shirt. I'm like, but what am I going to call it? So I started meditating. It's when I had first like started getting into meditation and stuff. And I was like, And then something was like, my go-to. I was like, what? And I was like, my go-to. And I'm like, okay, I can get with it. And so the more I sat with it, I realized I wanted to call the business My Go-To because it's supposed to be your go-to place for holistic wellness. And so it's called My Go-To Community. And it's, in my head, it'll be like a YMCA, but for the creative arts and alternative healing modalities. And so I feel like a lot of kids only look at hip-hop as like a musical outlet or like basketball, football. Like they don't realize that art is it's a huge fucking world. Like you don't only have to make music, you don't only have to be an athlete, you can do so much more. So I want to create a space where people can come and like, oh well, I want to learn how to be a graphic designer. Cool, we have a room for you. Go, this is where you go learn to do that. Or I want to learn culinary arts. Awesome, we got this. Or martial arts. Bet this space is for you. So in that meditation, when My Go-To came to me, I was like, okay, well, what do I actually want it to be? And so then like I wrote down a list of all of the different things. And like, obviously yoga was like the first thing on the list because that's what I was practicing at the moment. And then it just like, it grew. And I realized there's so many things that people could use as outlets that are not even expensive, but we don't realize that it's accessible to us simply because they don't advertise it. So that's kind of how my business became it's becoming what it's going to be, which led me to acupuncture school because I was getting acupuncture, not very frequent, but like I was having this lower back pain on my left side of my hip. And it was just nagging. Like it was horrible. I could not figure out nothing to do to help it. Yoga wasn't helping. Like Nothing was helping. And the yoga studio I went to, they had community acupuncture. And I went, the dude did it, and like I have not had that hip pain ever since. And it's like, granted, it's not always a one and done kind of thing, but I think I was so fed up and just so open to it that like my body was like, cool, we can finally work with this. And so that was like my first introduction into acupuncture. And then from there, I tried it maybe like 3 more times. And then I had went to my high school's homecoming football game. I don't remember why. I think I like one of my friends, he taught there and he invited me. He was like, yeah, come to homecoming. I'm like, sure, whatever. And I saw my old English teacher and we were just chalking it up. And I was telling her about like, you know, what I'm doing, what I want to do. And she's like, oh, I have a friend. She has acupuncture studio. I'm going to put you in contact with her. And I'm like, cool. So I went, talked to her, learned a lot about like just the practice and like what it actually consists of. And then from there, I was like, okay, I think I want to be an acupuncturist, but I wasn't completely sold on it yet. And then I watched a documentary called Dope is Death. It's on like the Vice channel on YouTube. And it was basically about how the Black Panther Party and the Young Lords, which is like the Puerto Rican version of the Black Panthers up in New York. Boricua. How they used acupuncture to help heroin addicts break their addiction. And they were doing auricular acupuncture. So they were only doing acupuncture in their ears.
Wow.
And they saw tremendous results. Like people were actually breaking their addictions. And then obviously the government caught on and like shut down their centers and stuff. And I was like, okay, there are Black acupuncturists for one. And I'm like, okay, so it's not impossible for me to do. And it just really inspired me. Like it struck a whole fat ass fire under my ass. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to actually go to acupuncture school. And so, like I said, July 25th, 2023, it's high as hell. And I applied to the acupuncture school, got accepted. And now I'm about to start my 3rd term, May 6th.
Nice.
Hey,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Woo.
Thank you.
So, in the simplest way you can explain it, what is acupuncture and how does it work?
Okay. So I'm going to explain it the way that the lady that my high school teacher told me, because I feel like she had the best way of explaining it that I've heard in like layman's terms. So you know how like a house, you have the walls of a house, which is like your skin. And then inside of those walls, you have wires and like pipes and all of these things. So the body is like a house. So you have your skin, which is like what you see, but inside you have the copper wiring, which is like your blood, veins, your organs, your in Chinese medicine you have qi, which is like your vital life energy, your life force energy. You have your qi, you have all of these things. And say the power goes out, like you blow a fuse and you have to turn this fuse back on to get the energy back flowing. So the needles conduct electricity into the body, and so when you poke somebody with the needle, you're kind of reawakening that life force energy. You're getting that stagnant energy to flow and open up. And it's not, like I said, it's not a one and done type of thing, but like it's basically using electricity to realign your body in a sense, because we're electric beings, whether people know it or not. That's why they say like you should eat alkaline foods and things, because it's like your energy. It's not only I'm tired, it's also like your inner energy matters. So yeah, in layman's terms, the body is a house. If the power goes out, you need to flick the switch to turn the power back on. So yeah,
I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, once she told me that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm using that forever, because I feel like acupuncture is kind of hard to explain. And I'm sure once I actually get into practicing acupuncture, because I'm just in foundational courses right now, I'll find my own way to explain it to make it like make sense. But for now, that's what I go with.
I like that.
Thank you.
I always thought acupuncture would hurt.
Nah, I go to sleep. I be in that bitch knocked out. Yeah.
I'm afraid of needles.
That's fair. I mean, okay. So acupuncture needles, one, they're as thick as a piece of hair.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're not.
Can I fall off the table? Will they go inside of me? I saw 1,000 Ways to Die, and
So you're traumatized.
and this guy, this person fell off of an acupuncture table, and all the needles like went in them.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so it depends on the length of the needle, because they have longer needles and they have shorter needles. 9 times out of 10, you probably won't die, because like I've even had practices where like they pick a longer, thicker needle and they're like threading it.
Can you?
Yeah. But it doesn't hurt. They're threading it to find like the blocks or like, so it's so deep. You have meridians in the body, which are like different energy centers, we can call them. But then there's also channels. So you have your channels, you have your osseous points. Osseous points are kind of like, if I touch it and then you say ow, like there's obviously a blockage there. Then you have like your regular acupuncture points. Like it gets really deep. But sometimes you have to go deeper. Like someone who is bigger than I am, their vitals are going to be a little bit further into the body, so you would have to use a longer needle to get in there versus someone who's thinner. Like you don't have to use something as thick. I personally don't think you can die from using acupuncture needles, but like I don't know. I'm gonna say no. We won't die. Don't be afraid to try it. So the most you feel. Yeah, hopefully it's a sturdy table.
Yeah.
You don't weigh 9 million pounds. So I think you'll be okay.
If I fall asleep though and roll off.
No, so you're gonna be still because you have needles in your body. So you're not gonna be like and then roll over. Like it's not that kind of thing. You can have front practices or back practices. I've done both.
I just thought about them sticking the needle in the front of me, like I'm laying on my back, and then it's
I've had needles in my head. Like you want to see?
You literally had a needle in your head. You have face tattoos.
Yeah, but
it is literally nothing like a tattoo. If you don't think tattoos hurt, then you'll be perfectly fine with acupuncture.
Yeah, he said his face tattoos didn't hurt.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The tattoos on my stomach hurt a lot.
Yeah,
it's not cutting your skin, so it's like it doesn't feel. Honestly, 9 times out of 10, unless like I'm having a really big stagnancy there or blockage, I don't feel the needles going in. And I'm not saying that to unscare you. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, is it in? And I'll sit up and look. They were like, yeah, lay down, girl, relax. But then sometimes I do feel the needle and it doesn't really hurt. It just feels like something opening. Like you feel the energy dispersing almost. One time I had got a needle like right here. And when he put it in, we both felt like an electric shock. Like I felt it in my foot and he felt it in the needle. Whoa. And we looked at each other. I was like, did you feel that? He was like, yeah, did you feel that? So it's like, I don't know. It's cool to see like that energy because outside of it being a medicinal art, it's also energy work. Like it's an energy exchange. And so seeing that happen was cool, but it doesn't hurt. I'm going to find this picture of you with the needle. For you with the needle in my head.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here it is.
We got to do a video getting acupuncture done.
It's like.
Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh.
In the ears.
Yeah.
Wow.
It doesn't hurt. I love it. Honestly,
you got a needle coming out of your head.
Like I get upset when I can't get free acupuncture because so it was during my clinic shift, and if the interns didn't have people, I would go get my chart and like, well, I'm gonna get serviced. And so like when he would have a full schedule, I only went to one because I try to be consistent so I could actually see if it was working. So it was like we kind of like, okay, we're gonna see like how I changed in these 15 weeks. I would be pissed when he had a full schedule. I'm like, damn, I can't get acupuncture this week. And then I had to get real. I'm like, girl, okay, you're not even supposed to be getting acupuncture. You're supposed to be observing and like learning in these rooms. But like, I will say getting acupuncture consistently, I don't know how I was going without it for real. Like, I love it. I love it so much. And it does not hurt. I want the world to know that acupuncture does not hurt. And if it does hurt, that means it's working. But it doesn't hurt. It's not like getting stabbed.
Right.
I feel like my body is always tense and sore. And I'm always looking for like recovery things.
Don't be tense, be ready.
Don't be tense, be ready.
But yeah, it's great for recovery. I pulled my hamstring. It helped me heal that. I don't know. Acupuncture is amazing. Yeah, it has so many benefits. It can help women with PCOS and like infertility issues. It can help with that simple headache. It can help with different like emotional problems. Like it's an overall awesome wellness tool.
I'm pretty sure my cousin had acupuncture done because she got hit by a car.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that was part of like her recovery process.
I believe it. A lot of people do. And now like chiropractors are doing dry needling.
What does that mean? Dry needling?
Honestly, I don't know.
Are they all dry? They're not dry.
Yeah, they are. I've never had a wet needle. but basically, like, they're just sticking you where you have pain in the body. I can't say that I condone it, because in acupuncture, it really is like an art and a science. So it's like, we're not just sticking people just because, like, oh, it hurts right here. Okay. And although there are points that you do like that, like I said, they're called the Aushare points. 9 times out of 10, you're following a system, because it's just like I told you all, the liver is in charge of anger. So fire is joy. Damn. Okay, wait. Let me start. Fire is joy. Earth is sympathy and empathy. Water is fear. Metal is grief. And wood is anger, which is the liver. And then those all follow an organ or 2 organs. It's a lot. But in other words, like, each emotion has a different spot. So it's like, you could be really making shit worse for people by trying to just, like, poke them in random places because you think it's working. So I can't say that I fuck with dry needling for real. But yeah, I would be more afraid of dry needling than acupuncture, because they're not licensed to do it. They're just like poking. Yeah.
Just stabbing around at you.
Pretty much.
We'll just go to you for some acupuncture whenever you're
I got you.
done.
Give me some time. And then I got you. Everybody's like, oh my God, I can't wait for you to be ready to poke me. And I'm like, I can't wait to poke y'all. Like, thank you for being open to the practice, because it's definitely scary. Like, when I first got it, I'm like, what the fuck am I actually doing? And I remember acupuncture because, do you remember True Life?
Yes.
On MTV?
Yeah.
I remember watching an episode, I think it was True Life, and somebody got acupuncture. And I'm like, why the fuck would they ever put needles in themselves? And then here I am, like 20 years later. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I get it now.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I think, one, it's cool to see that people are open to trying these different holistic wellness practices, because it's just like, I feel like they were far-fetched and few, like, before, like, oh, just give me some ibuprofen and I'll be fine. And it's like I don't take medicine. I'll find an herb, or like drink some tea or do something instead of medicine. So it's like, seeing people trust me with helping them in holistic ways is really, it warms my spirit, because I'm like, oh, like, y'all fuck with me for real. So yeah.
Supporting.
Cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
So are you currently like helping people in holistic ways? I know, like you said, you're like learning with your acupuncture and stuff like that. Like I guess, what do you offer? Is it like consultation? Is it like service? Or
so it's more so like my friends or family will text me and be like, hey, I have this issue, what can I do? So like I do a lot of research, because like I said, I don't take medicine. I stopped taking medicine, I think, around the time I started getting into yoga, because I learned about Ayurvedic medicine, which is like the Indian version of medicine. And so I'm like, oh, this makes sense. And I also took a class, and I learned like Advil and shit like that. It stays in your bloodstream for years. Like, it doesn't.
Really?
Yeah. And so I was like, I don't really like that. I stopped, like, I got off birth control because I realized, like, it was doing more harm than help. Like, I don't know. I really don't trust Western medicine. And I know that, like, it has its benefits. It saved my mom's life. But, like, at the same time, it's like it kills so many people. And so I was like, there has to be other ways. So I got into, like, herbalism. So I found this book, African Holistic Health, by Dr. LEELEE Da Africa. I probably said his first name wrong, but he's gone. But you guys
He won't.
actually. But so I started doing research in there, and like just looking up different herbs that are good for things, or like really experimenting on myself. And like, I'll have people that be like, I feel like this, what can I do? Like, I had a horrible bug bite on my back, and I use olive oil as bug spray. It works great if y'all need like something natural to use. Olive oil, 10 out of 10. But something bit my back really bad, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I started experimenting with shit that I had, and I used some neem oil. The next day, those bug bites were gone. Like, I got a picture of that too. I'm like, no fucking way.
Wow.
Yeah.
What oil did you use?
Neem, Neem, neem oil.
Neem oil.
That shit stink. I'm gonna tell you that much. It stinks, but it works. Yeah, so I guess you could say people just trust me in terms of like finding something for them, but I wouldn't say that I do consultations. Like, I wouldn't help somebody who's like, I'm dying from stage 4 cancer. What herbs? Like, that's out of my pay grade.
Right.
But like, if you're like, oh, I have a headache, I'm like, oh, drink some peppermint tea or put some peppermint oil in your temples, or you can get some shingling oil. Like, I can help you come up with remedies for certain things for sure.
Nice.
Samaj loves peppermint tea.
Really? It's good. So
It's been a while since I had a cup of tea. I'll probably have one before bed tonight, honestly.
I've been drinking tea more because I've been eating bullshit here. So it's like I have to have like some sort of a balance. So I've been drinking ginger tea to help with my gut. Okay, y'all. This was the bug bites. Like, I don't know what got me.
Oh, wow.
Well,
This was the next day.
Gone.
Gone.
Wow.
Yeah, gone.
that's one day.
Wow.
Not even a full. I took these pictures at 10:40. This is at 8:11 the next
Oh
morning.
my gosh. Just
Wow.
asleep.
Literally.
Just one sleep.
One
Got rid of
sleep.
them.
That's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
So yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize like God gave us all the medicines we need for the most part. They're on
Absolutely.
earth. Yeah, so it's just like actually tapping into it and then trusting the medicine to work. I think it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Heck
Oh,
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having me. Sorry for keeping y'all for forever.
No,
this
apologize.
was an amazing
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Hey.
I think this is. Would you say this is your first like full co-hosting episode?
I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making history.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for having us or for coming here.
You're
with
welcome.
us.
Thanks for joining
Thank you for having us on your podcast.
No, I'm just kidding.
Let everyone know where they can follow you.
All right. Well, first, thank y'all for having me. I really enjoyed myself. But my Instagram is Leedeland, LEEDLELAND. Leedeland for like my personal page where you can see me just being a silly, goofy, funny girl. And then for my business page, it's my go-to community. So MYGOTO period community, COMMUNITY. Yeah. Same. I think my TikTok is Leedeland. Don't follow my Twitter. So yeah.
We don't want her to blow up on Twitter.
Not
Yeah.
again. Like, oh my God. I did it again, actually. Sorry, I know we're getting off.
You start blowing up again?
Yes, on the new page, I had posted, like, I had got some new Crocs, and I just wanted my friends to see my new Crocs. I went to bed, woke up, it had like 10,000 likes. I deleted it instantly. I'm like, no, like, I made a new page to avoid this shit. So.
Girl, you're supposed to be famous or something.
Right,
Like,
people over here like,
that
how are you
never
going
happens.
to look viral? And she's just like,
I
not
posted some
again.
Crocs. Like, I deleted that shit so fast. I was so mad. And that was around the time my mom was in the hospital. So it's like, I really didn't want the social eye at all.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Thanks so much, guys.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.